yelling at me.
Okay, so we're gonna start this case like straight off the bat because we still have like 20 pages left to go in this case. Um, there's still quite a bit. Um, he is 2 years into his killing spree, and he's already done quite a bit of damage. And remember, um, this is we are now in the post uh um killing of an innocent girl. Um, so we're gonna talk about that. Since he killed an innocent person, now the police are gonna be more involved. They're still gonna do a really bad job. I will just preface that, like a really bad job. Hello, Angie. Okay, so let's begin. So we're finishing up his murders because it's been 2 years. He's still killing. And we're gonna actually go into a little depth before we start back on his killings about how the police department mistreated and mishandled this case. So in 2020, the police department officially apologized. And I will later on, you will realize why they apologized in specifically 2020 and not earlier. There is something that happens that leads to it. Um, but this is something I want to think about. When Peter was done with his murders, he had left 26 children without a mom.
Oh, wow.
26 parents, 26 children lost their mothers. And so I also wanted to talk a little bit more about how these women were treated because it needs to be talked about. Because as much as I hate to say it, police still treat these women, these sex workers, the same way.
Right.
I actually started doing research into the Long Island serial killer. I finished that case. Well, finished because he's going to trial in 2026. But
We'll
treatment,
make sure to have a Long Island iced tea to commemorate that episode.
The instances of the police mistreating the case because the victims were sex workers is still very much prevalent in 2010 all the way up to now.
Yeah.
There's I will spoil it. One of I think it was the police commissioner at the time. He denies saying this, so I will say this before I say he said this. But other police officers heard him refer to the death of sex workers as misdemeanor murders. Because they were not as important as everybody else.
Wow.
He denies saying that, but there are multiple people who said that they heard him say that. So they were focused on these women being sex workers or good time girls, but they did not get focused on solving the murder until an innocent was killed. Which, by the way, all of them are innocent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you kill somebody, to me, the person that you're killing is innocent.
Unless the person that you're killing is a murderer who's trying to kill you, the person who you're killing
then that's totally different. That is totally different.
But that's the only time that somebody you murder. Doesn't matter what they do for work.
Yeah.
And it's this idea that police and a lot of us regular people have in our head that sex work is dangerous and it comes with the territory.
Yep.
It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be, comes with the job. Violence is going to happen. Murder's going to happen.
Anything can.
What if we started saying that about retail workers? Like that?
I mean, you wouldn't be wrong in that nature because something happened a while back, wasn't it? That somebody came into Walmart with the gun, came in the back way. I mean, it's all disgruntledness. Yeah. And some of these cases, I feel bad for the sex workers. Like I've said, if it was the last job on earth, okay.
Yeah.
Cops say gang members killing each other just isn't a big thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It is a big thing no matter what. Murder I agree with you. Yeah, murder is murder.
Family members are losing family members. It doesn't matter who they are.
And it shouldn't be the way it is. But hey, look at our government.
So when in reality the world at the time was in a financial crisis.
And the other is the guy that stole the gun. Oh. Yeah. Oh, so he stole the gun and then went in?
Yeah.
Is that correct, Angela? The one you're talking about who stole the gun. He just
There's
stole the
been
gun.
multiple shootings at Walmarts, I will say.
Oh wow.
Um,
I know of a couple. No, he stole the gun and ran
ran
out.
out.
Oh, idiot.
Um,
They know there's your serial number on it.
yeah.
Sorry.
So, when in reality the world was in a financial crisis at the time in the 70s, specifically in this point in time.
Right.
The whole world was in a financial crisis. I think it was considered an early on. It was a recession at the time.
Sorry for eating in front of all you, by the way. I was hungry when I go home. He had planned to come in again, but he couldn't get the trigger off lock. Well, that tells you shouldn't be touching a gun if you don't know what that is.
Yeah. So a lot of these moms that he ended up killing were just trying to provide for their families. Wilma McCann's son said, "She wasn't just a good time girl, she was my mother."
No. This is a kid saying that?
This was her son.
Dude, you know what? Shame on you. I got a few words for you later.
And Emily Jackson, whose roofing company had started to fail, so they needed extra income. She's the one where they had her 17-year-old son identify her and told him what happened to her. He was 17. That's unnecessary.
How much trauma you cause that kid?
And then he did write a book
you
about
don't care, but
her son did write a book about her and her murder.
mm.
And he actually, and him and a lot of the other children of the victims pushed for the police department to apologize. And again, we will talk about why they specifically apologized in 2020. Because I think it is vile they couldn't take corrective action before it happened. That's just me. So let's get to a happier note, because we ended on him killing somebody. The body didn't get found for a month. He went back, visited the body, couldn't find the 5-pound note he gave her, which then was tracked back to his company, because remember, in England at the time.
Yeah, because he panicked.
Yeah, and remember, in England at the time, no, Willa.
She's trying to help type.
In England at the time, when they gave cash, they would get giant number of bills from the thing, so they could track where the company was from that was getting the bill. So it was tracked back to him. Fun fact, they interviewed him.
Right, okay.
They questioned him about that bill, and he said he was at a house party on that day. Remember, he did have a house party, but then he drove his friends back home. Then he went on the hunt.
Right.
So he was purposefully choosing dates where he had people with him and gave himself an alibi.
Okay.
He was
strategic.
He was strategic about it, exactly. So we're going to talk about a survivor. So after he had killed that woman in, I think it was, I forget which district. It was different from his usual one. And remember, he had tried to cut off her head to make it seem like it wasn't one of his killings.
That didn't go so well.
It didn't go well. He didn't have the right tools.
Ball peen hammer doesn't do much.
Yeah. So Marilyn Moore, on December 14th at 1977, at 8 p.m., she had left her bestie's place on Gibson Road, and the house was close to a Gaiety pub and Roundhouse Road, two places visited commonly by Peter. Marilyn was 25 years old, working as a sex worker at the time, and since it was 8 p.m., she was like, "I'm going to try to get a client on my way home." She's like, "Okay, I'm on my way home, might as well see." She did see a dark color sedan drive by her, and she noticed as it drove by her again. But before she got to her apartment, she was a little suspicious of this. She tried to look around for a client, but she was having no luck. As she walked by Franklin's place, she saw the same car a third time. And now she saw the driver outside of the car and leaning on it. She thought it appeared as if he was calling her over to come over to him. She gave the description of a man in his early 30s, dark wavy hair. He had a clean, well-kept beard, and she was a little nervous because of the Ripper in the news.
Yeah.
But he was so casual, and he said hello to other working girls walking by. And so she felt more confident that he wasn't the killer because he was so easygoing, so relaxed. And remember, they had been posting in the news that he was a maniac.
Right.
He was a madman. And there is no way a maniac or a madman could act so calm. Yeah. So he introduced himself as Dave, and they agreed to £5 as the price. And he suggested when they arrived in this desolate and isolated area, he parked the car and he suggested she go into the back seat. So she got out, but when she went to go get in the back seat, it was locked. So he got out to unlock it for her, but he had a bolting hammer in his hand. And when he was behind her trying to unlock the door, he brought it right on the back of her head. And then he hit her again, and she said she felt a searing, sickening blow at the top of her head. She screamed loudly and fell, but as she fell, she grabbed onto his pants to hold herself up, and he just kept hitting her.
Wow. Well, good for you for screaming.
Yeah. She continued to scream that this was a scream, and all that other stuff. And usually her screaming unsettled him because after one hit, they would go quiet. Usually. He would hit him and then they would drop down, usually unconscious. But he hit her once, then he hit her twice, but she's still screaming and yelling.
She's stubborn.
And he's like, what? It unsettles him.
There's something wrong here.
And that caused the dogs nearby to start barking. And that freaked him out. So he just jumps ship and leaves Marilyn there and just hopes she's going to die because he hit her so many times with the hammer.
Not necessarily, dude. It depends on where you hit her.
Yeah. So he drove off to go home to his wife, Sonia. Now, Marilyn stayed on the ground for 5 minutes. Then she pulled herself up and started walking to the street. A young couple driving by saw her covered in blood and crying, and they called for help.
Good.
Marilyn was brought to Leeds General Infirmary, and her injuries were a depressed fracture in her skull and other bruising lacerations on her head, face, arms, and hands from defensive wounds.
Wow.
Police rushed to the hospital to talk to her, and they were told considerable force had been used by the attacker, and it was evidence it was not just an attack, but an intended murder.
Oh, wow. Now,
Marilyn was conscious by the entire time that this was happening, luckily and unluckily. Unluckily because no one should have to be conscious for this kind of thing.
Yeah, no.
But luckily because she was able to describe her attacker. And
like.
She said 30s, a little bit of a stocky build, dark wavy hair, a neat beard, and he was about 5'8". She told them he drove a maroon sedan.
So that's right, because he changed vehicles.
Yeah.
He sold the other one because they started
looking for a white car.
Now you got it. Well, you have to trade in that car too, dude.
So police used this because her description was the most accurate one they had at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a list of possible suspects, and they went through the list of Ripper leads, and none of them, save David, matched the description. So they circulated it around, and crime scene investigators found tire markings at Marilyn's scene.
Mm-hmm.
They matched the one at Irene Richardson, so they were able to connect those cases.
Do you need to plug in your laptop?
Yeah, the charger's in the office.
Okay, go grab it.
Sorry, Mike. I was typing up for a long time about Eddie Dean because we have those pre-recorded ones coming up in April, and I'm trying to get it ahead of time so we can pre-record early on.
I just need to grab her thing
for those cases because.
And your cat is inside my.
It's gonna be fun.
Sorry. I'll shut this. Hey, Mama, what are you doing, Peanut? Peanut is inside my laundry thing. She's in my laundry hamper sleeping.
Does she know how to get out?
Yeah, she just jumped out.
You jump in their laundry hamper?
Yeah.
Oh, look at you doing a big stretch.
Big girl stretch.
If you their hamper is one of the fabric ones that are super high off the ground, and they're in little cocoons. Yeah. So that means she jumped into it.
It's like one of those Better Homes and Gardens
rolling ones.
Rolling ones because I don't like carrying the basket. And I'm trying to get it to where I get in the habit of taking it and putting it in there.
Yeah. So they find that the tires match the ones at Irene Richardson. So they're realizing she was attacked by the Ripper. Because remember, every single survivor who has been attacked by the Ripper, they have not connected them to the case. This is the first surviving attack that they connected to the Ripper.
Because she had accurate information.
And not only that, but the tire seams matched.
Mm.
So now by the 1978 investigation into the Ripper was in a panic because after everything, they still couldn't figure out who it was.
Yeah.
That might have been also because the photos they were passing around were of different people. They were passing around the new photos, but also the old photos, remember, that are incorrect.
Yeah.
So they're passing around two separate photo things at the same time because different police departments are getting different information. They're not sharing the information. So they're like, the dude is driving a white car. No, the dude is driving a red car. And it's getting all jumbled up.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Lack of communication.
Yes. So by January 21st, 1978, it was a new year, and Yvonne Peterson had made dinner for her two kids. And heads up, hi Thomas, heads up, this is the one that made me cry. It is the most brutal out of all of them. I mean, all of his murders are brutal, but this one, there is a particular level of like hatred in it that somebody has to have in their heart to be able to do this. I actually gave her a forewarning last Monday of what happens in this, so it didn't take her by surprise. So she had made dinner for her two kids, and she left them with a babysitter who was a neighbor, so she could go out and make money. Yvonne, like the others, knew things were a lot more dangerous now with the killer on the loose, especially one that killed sex workers. She was a good friend of Tina Atkinson, who was also another victim.
Right.
And she kept a pair of scissors with her for self-defense.
Good for her.
So she was like, I got my scissors for self-defense. I'm on the lookout. My friend was attacked. I'm not going to let it happen to me. And also, I think there might have been this level of, I'm still going to be prepared, but my friend was killed. The likelihood it's going to happen to me is...
It's the thought of, it's back in the back of her head.
Yeah.
She knows it could possibly happen to her. When would it happen to her? Not sure. Yeah. But, I mean, good for her for being alert on her toes.
Yeah. And Yvonne made sure everyone knew she had these scissors on her. So everyone she came in contact with knew she was armed. And Yvonne was finishing up a drink with a friend around 9:30 at a pub in Loom Lane in Bradford. And she said her goodbyes and she went to head out on the street. And as she was walking, a man in a red Corsair came up to her and almost hit her with his car. And he actually squealed to a stop, rolled down his window to apologize. And was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And Yvonne said that was actually a good time. Put it down to fate is the exact word she said. And because he had been like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then he goes, but are you by any chance working? And so she goes, consider this good timing. Put it down to fate is what she used. And then she got in his car. So Peter drove to a dump in Atherton Street, and he parked, doing the same that he had with Marilyn, telling her to get into the back seat. And as she got out of the car, he grabbed a stashed lump hammer, which is different than a ball peen hammer. Okay. It is a wider base. He may have tried to think that maybe last time it didn't kill her because it was too small, so he tried to get a bigger hammer. And he snuck up behind her and he hit her in the head with it. She fell to the ground, and he dragged her by the collar of her dress or shirt, and then dragged her to a dirty old sofa. A car actually pulled up next to him, and a man and woman were in it, and they were talking to each other. And he later said that they were there for ages. He said he was waiting on the sofa with Yvonne, trying to keep her quiet, and he said she was moaning loudly from being hit on the head with a hammer. So he shoved the couch stuffing down her throat and held her nose shut while he waited for them to leave.
Wow.
Now, when the car finally left, he then kicked her in the head and body several times. And then he jumped on her chest until her ribs cracked. Yeah, he jumped on her until he heard all of her ribs crack.
So then when you go to prison next year, can somebody do that to you? Can somebody hit you in the head with a bigger hammer and put stuffing down your throat and hold your nose until the guard goes by? And then can they kick you a few times
and
And
then
then
jump on
can
you.
they jump on your chest?
That is
Just asking, because
that's a level of hatred and anger that I cannot fathom.
and he's taking it out on her because it didn't he
It
didn't
wasn't
succeed with the other one.
exactly.
So he's making it more prominent to her. I'm going to make sure she's not breathing. I'm going to make sure she's
exactly.
dead. There's a special place for you downstairs.
Yeah.
Lucifer's going to love making you his bitch.
So to make matters even creepier,
God.
He was doing this during the day.
You're disgusting. Put that
one. So the day before he did this, he spent the day helping his parents move.
Okay.
And then so he killed her this way after helping his parents move. Doing such a mundane, simple task. Being just a good son.
What are we doing in 5 months? Come on, man.
So he also said in his trial he originally did not intend to kill her. But when she said the word fate, he took it as a sign from God she was meant to be killed.
You did not intend. But she says one word that her meaning of the word is, oh, look, this is fate. I haven't been able to find somebody all evening. Guy almost hits me with this car. This is going to sound so mean. I've been better off hitting her with a car than what he did to her. I mean, because you're murdering a woman who's got 2 little ones. Don't know the ages of the kids, but obviously they're young. And you take the word, oh, Abigail, it's fate. Do you know what fate means?
Yeah.
Have you looked it up?
Well,
apparently you don't. Fate does not mean
that's not the
in
worst.
your head.
That's not the worst part of her story. So Yvonne's babysitter, when she didn't come home, knew there was an issue. She was like, this is a problem. She's always home.
She's always coming back. Yep.
So she called the police to report her missing. Yvonne's body was not found until March 26th. And remember, she was killed January 21st.
Jesus, what are you guys doing?
Someone walking by the dump saw an arm sticking out from the old sofa and discovered her body.
Hi, Mama.
The police believed it was a separate murder and not connected to the Ripper's murders.
Why? Because he used a different weapon?
Because that was because she wasn't stabbed. Because remember, he didn't just hit him in the head with the hammer. He also stabbed and slashed them.
And he didn't stab the last one either.
No, because he got unsettled from her screaming. So he wasn't able to finish.
Wow.
And it was because she hadn't been stabbed, and the head wound looked like it had been done with a large rock and not a hammer. But it was determined her cause of death was trauma to the head. They also, when they were first looking at the body, discovered a handful of insulation in her mouth. They thought it was originally done after she died. But no, Peter said when he did it, because she wouldn't stop moaning and crying. And her body was different from how Peter usually had initially left her when they found her. She had been killed next to the sofa and left there. But when she was found with the sofa partially covering her, along with other debris from the dump. And there was also a copy of the Daily Mirror dated February 21st, a month after she was killed. Peter claims he never visited her body, but he also claims that he never visited bodies, but we know that's not the case.
Yeah, he's done it. He's done that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of thought process that he killed her January 21st. On February 21st, he came back, messed with the body a little bit, put the mirror on, because the Daily Mirror was tucked under her arm.
Oh, wow.
Put the magazine under her arm, and then was like, okay, great. They'll know that she's been here for at least a month.
Yeah, but her kids don't.
Yeah. And originally when they never connected her until he confessed to it.
So my question is, what happened to the kiddos?
And there's a lot of theories. He visited a lot of bodies that weren't found immediately. Because remember, again, the one where he thought he made the mistake of using the $5 bill, he went to go revisit her. He attacked her dead body.
Mm-hmm.
There's thoughts that he did do this quite often.
Yeah.
So, only 10 days after that brutal murder, remember, he usually waits at least 20 days, 30 days in between kills, a month at least.
Mm-hmm.
This one was only 10 days.
Hmm.
So, after the brutal murder of Yvonne Pearsons on January 31st, Peter struck up again. This time he picked up Helen Ritka. She was only 18.
Mm.
She had been living in a motel room with her sister Rita. They had been raised in children's homes and then they aged out. They had been staying with another sibling, but that went a little wonky at the time. Nobody really knows what happened.
Okay.
Helen had been working at a local candy factory and she had recently lost that job.
Mm.
So Helen and Rita had both turned to sex work to keep their heads afloat. They had ambition and they were willing to work. They were willing to do what they had to. Helen had received a grant to attend the Batley Art College,
Nice.
and she had dreams of becoming a soul singer. In a newspaper article that was written when Rika and Helen were 15, the two of them sent a poem to the Yorkshire Post, and it was called Lonely and Unloved.
No.
And to give you just a gist of what they wrote, no one cares if I was lured into the deepest hole, cast aside by those so cruel and treated like a mule. Yes, loneliness is to live this way day after day. Yes, I would pray that someday love may find an open way.
Oh.
Which is a really, they were 15 when they wrote that.
Wow. That's sad.
That's sad.
I mean, I get it with being in foster homes, apparently, like you said, is when you age out,
Hmm.
it's like it does take a huge toll on you because you're like, wow, I was in there for so long for the, what, 15? They were
Hmm.
15,
They've been in there for so long.
and like nobody wanted me because if they did, they would have taken me,
Yeah.
and what was it? With, again, my whole story with my son, um, I believe they said he felt kind of that way, like, we're gonna send him back. It's like, no, I ain't sending your ass back. Worked really hard to get you here. But I get it.
Hmm.
That is a very sad poem for those two girls to write because they're in a foster system where nobody wanted to adopt them and then they have to
And just
doing what
the
they did.
beginning, no one
Thank
cares
you.
if I was lured into the deepest hole. That's just,
That's deep.
I feel like that's also very ominous,
Mm,
especially in Helen's case.
yeah.
So on January 31st, she was in the red light district and Peter came around on the prowl. And once he had her in the car, she was led to a Manchester railway station off Great Northern Street. And he found a secluded park to park in. And so now he has his routine now. He tells her, let's go to the back seat. And as he's headed out, he's going to hit her. But then two men walk by and he waits until they pass. And then he swings the hammer right into her head.
Does he go looking for places before doing this? Or just does he know where secluded places are
I
that
think
never
I think they tell him because in the first couple they would tell him, "Hey, there's a secluded park we can go to,
huh
or there's a secluded area," because they go there with
other clients?
other clients.
I mean, I know I've heard them in the beginning whenever they would tell him, but I'm like, how
I
the
wonder if they were still doing that, or if he started casing the joint, or if because he lived close to the area, he just knew.
yeah.
Um, so he waits until these two gentlemen pass, and then he swings the hammer into her head, and she falls to the ground. And as she was falling, he swung the hammer and hit her on the head 5 more times.
Jeez.
He said he left there for a while, in fact, long enough for the blood to soak into the ground.
Do not bite. That hurts, and so do your claws. Thank you.
So the blood was like soaked into the ground.
Mm,
It was
yeah.
so he stripped her of her clothing, dragged her naked and battered body into a wood pile nearby, and once she was there, he stabbed her over and over and over again. Now
So
Peter
that's another MO that he just changed. He never stripped them.
yeah, he never stripped
He
them.
never stripped them.
He's
So that's another MO that he is changing to get the scent off of him because
yeah.
now he goes back to stabbing, but now he stripped her completely naked, which is more humiliating
Yeah.
for her.
Because we talked about it because she asked at the end of the case, and she goes, "Is there a reason why?"
Oh yeah, because I asked about
why
him
she was
pulling.
lifting the dresses.
Like, why was he lifting the dresses and
And
the shirts
there's
up?
a psychological answer. So you'll find with like cases, if the person is knew the victim, more often than not, they kind of cover the victim. They do something, or if they feel bad about it, almost like how a child feels bad after they do something wrong. You'll see that they like try to cover the face, or they try to hide it, they try to put it in, like, you'll see that where there's kind of like this hint of remorse. When it comes to victims that are left out in the open, that are stripped naked, that have their because I think we saw it in like the Blackout Ripper. They were stripped naked, but he kept them underneath a blanket.
Yeah.
But as soon as the blankets were off,
they were naked.
Yeah. And it's a way of humiliating them, a way of having power over his victims after death. So I think because remember, the victims are found quickly. I think part of the reason he was kind of upset and he had more anger in him after exuding all that anger from the Yvonne Peterson murder was the fact that she hadn't been found yet. Because this is 10 days after he technically murdered her. Not 10 days after she was found, 10 days after he killed her. Her body hadn't been found yet.
And do they know? And I'm not trying to change the part, but I'd asked if anything happened to the kids. Like, do we know? Like, I know the babysitter was there and she called the police
I
saying
think
she
they
went
went into the
missing.
foster care system.
Okay.
A lot of the children went into the foster care system because a lot of these were single mothers.
Okay. Because I'm like, I know, he killed her. There's a concern for her safety in the first place, but knowing that there was children, I was like, okay, what happened to the kids? Like, my mind goes straight. Okay, I'm a mom.
Yeah. A lot of
Okay,
them, I do
what
believe,
happened to
went
those
into
kids?
the foster system, or a family member
Okay.
took them in. But he's leaving them. This time, him stripping her naked is like an ultimate act of humiliation. The fact that he almost always poses his victims with their feet towards the road. And I asked her this. I go, what else, if your feet as a woman are pointing towards the road, what else is pointed there? And if your skirt is over your chest, what else is out for the world to see if it's facing the road and somebody's coming from the road?
Yeah.
It's an ultimate act of humiliation, an ultimate act of power. Him doing these killings, it's not because, oh, God told me to kill these sex workers because sex workers are bad.
Which some killers have said.
Yeah, which he says himself. The reason he does this is because he wants power. He craves power, and this is how he's getting his power. It's not an act of, oh, I'm just doing the Lord's work. No, you're doing your own work and getting your own power.
And number one, that's not the Lord's work. It says, "Thou shalt not kill."
Exactly.
Maybe God should. No, I better not say it. Never mind.
So once he stabbed her over and over again, and Peter would later say, heads up, it's gonna get gruesome, that once he stabbed her over and over again, he became aroused by the idea of getting caught because of those men that had walked by before he hit her over the head with a hammer.
Okay.
And he ended up
necrophilia,
essaying her after bludgeoning and stabbing her.
You necrophilia.
I will say, though, on the body.
Wait, necrophilia, is that the person that has sex with the dead body?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry.
I will say there is no evidence of SA post or premortem on her body. So there is the possibility
that he
just said he did it.
Just to add more to it. Because it's exciting.
Just to fuck with the police. Just, I'm going to tell you I did this, but I know I didn't. And you're just having to trust me on it.
He did, but didn't.
Where he
didn't actually do the deed, but he. How can you describe this? Help me out here.
I don't want to use the term. Oh, I was writing the Edwin case. The fear of Osan is something that his mom used to talk about. Which is he spilled his seed on the ground.
There you go. But more or less probably in his britches.
Or because remember, he used to do that.
Yeah.
On his victims, though.
Yeah.
That's why they find on almost all of his victims, they find semen on his victims.
But this one, there is none.
Well, there's no sign of No, there's no
quotes.
bruising on the body to signify, because even if pre or post mortem,
Uh-huh.
there would still be bruises or abrasions to the body, because
Yeah.
there would be, I hate to say this, no lubricant if they were dead.
Yeah.
So there would be abrasions in the body to signify that they were dead already, if he had essayed her when dead and if he had essayed her when she was alive. So there was no evidence of this essay that he claims he did. Absolutely none.
Yeah.
So her body was not discovered immediately. It was found 3 days later, and it was found by police dogs who were searching the area.
Okay.
Turns out the lumberyard employees found a giant stain of blood, called the cops, and they sent the dogs to track it. There wasn't a hurry though, because even though there was a giant blood stain and torn clothing, they went sex workers and drug users visit the area, so
How's
they
that
just
not
took
a
their
hurry?
stupid fucking time.
I like it. Did you write that in there?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm trying to get her to write how she feels when she's doing these things. Because
I don't say it all the time.
again, we laugh at the dark things and it helps.
Yeah, they took their stupid fucking time.
So it's more or less, that's why we say this is not made for kids. And yeah, so I'm trying to get it to where she actually voices what she thinks and how she feels.
So she was found stuffed between pieces of wood like trash, and the police, as per usual for them, they found nothing at all. And
course.
they didn't seem to be in a big hurry to solve it. But it gets better.
I freaking hope so.
Because remember George Oldfield, that police
the
officer?
good cop
The good cop.
that did his job?
No, that's not Oldfield.
Oh, okay, wrong one.
Oldfield is the one that his daughter died of cancer, so you would think you have a little bit more empathy for the families.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
No.
He told BBC Radio they were closer than ever to finding the Ripper.
Oh God.
That was a lie. They were not.
You liar.
And sadly,
Go say 10 Hail Marys.
the police
No,
had
nice.
said the police set up another headquarters for the murder.
When you don't even know.
I lost count about how many buildings they built, how many buildings they took over for this case. There was like 5 or 6 buildings and none of them are talking to each other. Like, what the fuck?
You doing, Willow?
So he was in an escalation on how he killed, but also time between kills. And they have talked to him at least once that we know of by this time. They had already interviewed him once already. But the police were so incompetent that maybe they talked to him even more.
They're very incompetent.
There is an idea that they talked to him in the total period of time before this case, before he was officially arrested for the murders, 9 times. They interviewed him supposedly 9 times before he was arrested for the murders. If you're interviewing somebody and somebody's name pops up 9 times to question, why are you not going, you know what, that's 9 times. You know what, 2
Maybe
times
some
I
of
can
them
kind of
can't add.
understand.
Maybe
You
they
know,
can't add.
2 times I can kind of understand.
Mm.
You know, it's coincidence. But 3, 4, 5, okay.
Well, give me a second. Let me get your claw out.
So even though they're doing a shitty job, they didn't like that the press was talking shit. And so in May, they announced a £5,000 reward for anyone offering any information that could lead to an arrest. Now, what have I always said? People will people. People are going to be awful. They're gonna be people.
Trying to take me out? Willow?
At least the police thought nothing was of note. After they announced this 5,000 reward, they were getting calls. But to the police, there was nothing of note being said. Do I believe them? No.
Nope.
So the case is at a standstill. There's no organization, and the fact that the victims are sex workers means that they're taking the time with the case. There are people talking about how the case was similar to Jack the Ripper.
Can't wait to get to that one.
Well, here's where we get to. That's when they started getting the letter. So the press started writing about how this was a Jack the Ripper-esque case and how he's just like Jack the Ripper. Except there had been no letters. Except now they were getting letters. But Peter wasn't writing the letters. People are gonna people. Somebody was taking credit for the crimes that were being committed by Peter Sutcliffe and writing letters to the police saying he was the killer, and he was calling himself Jack the Ripper. He was saying he was Jack the Ripper who was still alive from the 1800s.
Reincarnate. He's a vampire.
Not even, yeah, he's a vampire. I will give you a forewarning. Again, not Peter Sutcliffe. A completely different person. I'm sorry.
She even said ow. That was funny. Ow. I don't know if you all heard that, but she accidentally whacked her
On the tail.
and then all you hear is ow. You okay? She said sorry. It's okay.
So there are hoax letters.
That was too good.
So these hoax letters are arriving, and the police take these hoax letters as gold. They're like, this is how we're gonna solve the murder.
By believing somebody else who don't do crap and probably lives in his mama's basement.
I am gonna mention someone who wrote a couple of the hoax letters. I'm gonna mention someone who wrote the major hoax letters, and I want to tell him this because he's still alive. Fuck you. You sidetracked the whole. Michelle, when I was researching this, I was getting so mad. Literally for a year.
You know how I know she gets mad? Because we crack our door to our room, and all of a sudden I hear her walk. It's like, oh, here comes Abigail. And then you should just, Michelle. I'm like, yes, Abigail. What the fuck is wrong with these cops? I mean, it's hilarious. I can't wait to have a full-on setup of us doing our podcast now, because I'm going to start recording little things like that and placing it in places of this podcast so you see what I see on my end, because it's freaking hilarious.
They spent a year instead of looking at the actual. Remember, they still have that list of 100,000 vehicles. Peter Sutcliffe's name is in the vehicles. They stopped looking at 80,000 in. Peter Sutcliffe's name was in that 20,000. Instead of looking at the fucking case, they're over here for a year looking at letters. They're like, this is it. This is the killer right here. He has this information. You're going to find out, spoiler, the information was available to the general public. There was nothing that he would have known specifically that the general public didn't know.
Okay, yeah. That's stupidity on the cops' part. Usually when you're doing a case and investigating,
and a letter gets written, if there is nothing that only a killer would specifically know, you throw the letter out or you keep it off to the side.
Not in the 70s.
Nah, in the 70s, everything was true. Hoaxes? What are those?
Shrooms did they all do back then? How much pot did y'all smoke? How many times did you go to
George
Woodstock?
Oldfield received the first letter, it was sent to the West Yorkshire Police Department, and it was posted to Sunderland at 1:40 on the 8th of March. The letter was from someone saying they were the Ripper, and he was doing the same kind of taunting that Jack the Ripper did. Of course, he threw in digs at the investigators. I'm going to read you this letter, because whoever wrote it is dramatic as hell. Dear sir, I am sorry. I cannot give my name for obvious reasons. I am the Ripper. I've been dubbed a maniac by the press, but not by you. You call me clever, and I am. You and your mates having a clue that photo in that paper gives me fits, and that bit about killing myself, no chance. I've got things to do. My purpose is to rid the streets of them sluts. My one regret is the young lassie McDonald, who didn't know because changed routine that night. Up to number 8 now. You may say 7, but remember Preston 75. Get about a bit. You know, right, I travel a bit. You probably look for me in Sunderland. Don't bother. I'm not a daft. I just post a letter there on one of my trips. Not a bad place compared to Chapeltown, Chapelton, and Manningham, and other places uh, where whores to keep off the streets because I feel it coming again. Sorry about the young lassie. Yours respectfully, Jack the Ripper. Might write again later. I'm not sure the last one deserved it. Whore's getting younger each time. Old slut, next time I hope Huddersville, never again too small to close. It doesn't. It's written in Old English.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Uh, he's apologizing for killing McDonald, and then he's saying remember, at this point he's killed Yvonne. Yvonne's body has not been found as of yet. So he says, I've killed 7. Well, 8 actually, because of Preston 75. And I'm going to get to that. Of Preston 75, which was noted, was a prostitute who was killed. She was not killed by Peter Sutcliffe. She was killed by somebody else. But people started connecting the two. And I'll get into her case in a little bit because it does tie in. So he's saying he's killed 8, including her. But technically, if it had been Peter Sutcliffe who wrote this letter, that number should be 9 because he had killed Yvonne.
Mm-hmm. Because that one lady.
Whoever wrote this letter didn't know that Yvonne was dead.
Mm.
And that was because the death was not published in the paper.
Oop. And let me guess, they did not.
They didn't connect it in the beginning after they found her. Because this was written in the March 8th.
Oh, wow.
And they found her March 26th. So they didn't connect it. They didn't connect until later.
No.
So
we got some smart ones here.
Under the flap of the envelope, the letter writer had signed Jack the Ripper. So the second letter came days after the first letter, and it was written to the Daily Mirror, hoping this one would get published or it would get noticed. The second letter made sure to take credit for all the murders, but offered the Preston 75, which wasn't noted before, but it was again in this letter. The reference to Preston 75 is the murder of Joanne Harrison, who was a sex worker that was murdered after being SA'd after Wilma McCann's murdered, and she was murdered in Preston. This was weird because she was kicked and stomped to death after being SA'd, and her jewelry was stolen. So the police believe that these 2 letters were real, and they took the admission of Preston as a confession, mainly because she was a sex worker, so to them that made sense. I'm sorry, kicking someone to death and stomping on them to death after killing them with a hammer doesn't make sense. Also, he never robbed them.
No, he never kept anything. He only took their dignity.
Exactly.
In their life.
He never took money from them or jewelry.
Except for the one that he was trying to find the 5
because
£5.
And that was because it was his mistake. If he had given her a $5 pound that he had gotten from the corner store, he probably would have left it and just ignored it.
But because he panicked.
Yeah.
That's the only time he tried to take money back.
So now they're like, okay, so he has killed 8 because of Preston 75. She's his victim. Joanne Harrison is a victim of the Ripper.
Mm-hmm. Some people don't know how to do puzzles.
No. She was not one of his victims. Her killer was not Peter, and we will talk about what happens with her. Because I'm not going to bring up a case in the middle of a case and not give you
the rundown
about what actually happened with that case.
We appreciate that.
The person who perpetrated that crime against her was eventually arrested. In the second letter, he wrote, "Dear Sir, I have already written to Chief George Oldfield, a man I respect concerning the recent Ripper murders. I told him, and I'm telling you, to warn them whores. I will strike again, and soon after the heat cools off. Excuse me about the McDonald lassie. I didn't know she was decent, and I'm sorry I changed my routine that night. I didn't know she was decent. Okay, up to murder 8. Now you say 7, but remember Preston 75. Easy picking on them. Don't even have to try. You'd think they learn, but they don't. Most are young lassies. Next time, try an older one, I hope. Police haven't a clue yet, and don't leave any. I'm very clever, and don't look for me in Sunderland because I'm not stupid. Just pass through the place. Not a bad place compared to Chapelton and Manningham. Can't walk the streets for them whores. Don't forget, warn them. I feel it coming again. If I get a chance, sorry about Lassie. I didn't know. Yours respectfully, Jack the Ripper. Might write again after another week. Gone maybe Liverpool or even Manchester again. Too hot here in Yorkshire. Bye. I've given advance warning, so it's yours and their fault. So the case after these letters became fucked. Even more so. They were fucked beforehand, but after these letters,
Because he's not
it
making
got sidetracked.
he's not making a lick of for my brain because you said that's old English
This is
talk.
old. This is Jack the Ripper style.
It's like,
And that's how some police officers realized it was not somebody. Somebody was purposefully reading Jack the Ripper letters and writing letters that mimicked it to the T.
oh, I was like, what the heck is that noise? Sorry,
So
have a movie on in the
they
room.
found that they're mimicking Jack the Ripper's writing to a T, and they realized that this dude would not do that because if it was,
Yeah.
um,
So now I'm learning a little bit about Jack the Ripper because
yeah,
I didn't learn much of anything about Jack. I'm excited because I can't wait. Not
Jack
for
the-
not for his brutal murders, but just to
don't forget,
know.
May is Jack the Ripper.
Hmm.
We have cases. I am in the middle of writing April's, and I will say this spoiler for our personal lives. I will be probably moving at the end of April,
Yeah.
beginning of May. So these April ones, but most of the Ed Gwynn ones are going to be recorded. The May ones are going to have to be recorded because we won't be in the same state. I don't think for May
No,
until the very end.
Yeah, like they're moving prior to us, which is fine because then that gives us time to finish up which we should be finished up with our packing anyways because we're leaving in March. So remember in March, I think that the 15th we are going to have to pre-record.
Mm-hmm.
Today was actually supposed to be our Q&A day, but because I got sick last
tomorrow
week.
is Q&A. Next week was supposed to be Q&A.
So tomorrow's Q&A or next week's Q&A?
No, it was supposed to be
Oh, it's wait.
No, you're right. This is supposed
Because
to
I
be
was supposed to do my Walt Disney thing last week, which I didn't get to do because, like I said, I was sick.
this is
So
supposed to be Q&A because
So I messed it up. I got sick.
Yeah.
So
So
we'll figure out a Q&A day. I mean, it'll be fine and whatnot. I know we have Krampus though.
Krampus is the Q&A day. So we will literally have a Q&A on the last week of December.
Yes.
And then we'll start the new year with the Beast of Berkshire.
Where's that located at?
Scotland.
Anything to do with my ancestry. I'm so excited for.
So the letters from the very beginning were debated about if they were real or not, and if it was a person who had information. But the reason they were taken seriously was because of the mention of the Preston murder. They thought it might be insider knowledge. On May.
That last second. It's like pointing like, drink your tea.
On May 16th, 1978, 41-year-old Vera Millward sadly ran across Peter when he was getting worse, when he was on his escalation period. Vera was born in Spain and she had moved to Manchester in the 50s. It was shortly after she arrived that she met someone, got married, had 4 kids with him. In the 60s, though, her husband sadly passed away and she fell on hard times. Her children ended up being taken out of the home because she couldn't afford them and she couldn't provide for them.
So she willingly gave them up, or they came in and
They
just
took them.
Okay.
When this happened, she turned to sex work. She was desperate and she was in poor health.
Yeah.
She only had 1 lung, and she suffered from chronic and debilitating stomach issues.
Jeez.
In the years before she met Peter, she had undergone 3 surgeries for her stomach, and even though things were difficult for her, By the 70s, she had met and moved in with her boyfriend, Cy Burkett. They had 2 kids together, but by the end of the decade, Cy lost his job and things had gone bad financially.
Mm.
And so she turned to sex work again. But she didn't tell him. She did it on the side to help.
Oh.
So on May 16th, 1978, she left her apartment around 10 p.m. and she told Cy she was out running to get cigarettes at the store. But instead, she had an appointment with a long term client. But when she went to go meet him, he wasn't there. He had never showed. So instead, Vera went to go look for a replacement, hoping to bring some money home. So Peter was hunting in Manchester that evening because Leeds and Bradford, there was a heavy police presence there now.
Yeah.
So he moved to Manchester. And I before we talk about this murder, the police are there just standing on the corners, and instead of talking to the sex workers, they're just acting all menacingly.
Yeah, why would you not go talk to the
They did
ones
not
that are
talk to
being
the,
murdered?
they didn't talk to the sex workers because the sex workers were dirty. And I don't blame this. And also they were like, oh, the sex workers aren't going to talk to him. The sex workers aren't going to talk to you because you're treating them like shit.
Yeah. I act like they're beneath you.
So he moved to Manchester. So he sadly saw Vera walking down the street and he asked if she was doing business. She said yes. She got in the car. Peter took him to a remote area near the Manchester Royal Infirmary. We assume he told her to get into the back seat. Vera went to open the back seat door, and Peter hit her on the head from behind 3 times. Once she was on the ground, he dragged her to a place where the light didn't touch the area. He pulled up her dress up to her shoulders and slashed her stomach enough that her intestines spilled out of her body.
There's the
Yeah.
ammo we know.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
He then turned her on her stomach and stabbed her over and over again. Uh, the same like Jane McDonald's.
Yeah.
And then he placed her face down next to a pile of trash and left her there. I think it's also interesting. Earlier, he wasn't leaving them by the trash. He was just leaving them out in the open. And
Now
now
leaving them
he's
by trash.
strategically putting them by trash, meaning his view on women are
It's
getting
trash.
exactly. He's literally viewing them as nothing but trash for him to use and abuse. Like
Wow.
they're trash. They're garbage. I can just throw them out with the
I
trash
can do
when I'm
whatever I
done with
want.
them.
No, you can't.
Exactly. So,
Hello, 7 peoples.
hello. So, the next morning, 2 workers arriving to do groundskeeping work at the Royal Infirmary found what they believed to be a discarded mannequin. When they got closer, they realized it was a person with her arms tucked under her chest. Her shoes were on her thighs, and he also put her coat across her. I don't know why he keeps putting shoes on her thighs, but also, what is with serial killers and shoes? Can we just talk about this real quick? How many serial killers have we ran across that has done something
Shoes.
weird with shoes?
They either take them. It's
They
like, well,
take 'em.
they ain't going to run anywhere because you killed them.
They
Come
take
on.
them, they do something with them, they put them off to the side, they put them on their legs. I don't know. What is with the shoes?
I'm waiting for him to say, I wore a necklace. Like, come on, man. Leave the shoes alone.
The police were like, this is a Ripper killing. And since it was in Manchester, Jack Ridgway was in charge. I will say one reason this case was so disorganized is because no one person was in charge. If it happened in a specific area, this person will be in charge. If it happened in this area, another person.
So it's like what do they call that? What do they call it whenever it's in a different area?
I know different jurisdiction.
Thank you, I was about to say Angela's going to
and
know what I'm talking
instead
about.
of doing what other places have done, where they built a task force of the different jurisdictions, they just kept having more offices appear and no communication. Why?
Because they're men.
Probably.
And no offense to all men, but I'm just saying. Back in that time, it's your fault.
There were like 3 to 4 lead investigators. There was not a task force.
And they're probably out going, I'm in charge. No, I'm in charge. No, I'm in charge. No, I'm in charge.
Exactly. So they searched the area, found blueprints, and were able to match the blueprint to Irene Richardson's murder and the Marilyn Moore attack. So the police started asking if anyone saw or heard anything. A man who had brought his son to the hospital around 10 p.m. told investigators he thought he heard someone yelling help 3 times before going silent. He stopped to see if his mind was playing tricks, and he assumed it was just his mind playing tricks.
Okay. I mean, at least there was a little bit of concern, I guess, from the dad. I know he had his kid with him.
Yeah.
But
Now, Ridgway met with Damali, who was the York Westshire guy, and he shared his findings.
His name is what?
Damali.
I have a nickname.
Who was
Tamale
the,
Damali.
and he shared his findings, and the West Yorkshire guys believed there was a link between Vera's murder and the Ripper killings.
Mm-hmm.
But they wouldn't agree that their cases were connected, or that the West Yorkshire Ripper cases were connected to those, or they refused to believe that these cases were all interconnected in these different jurisdictions. They're like, these are all Ripper killings, but my Ripper is different from your Ripper, and your Ripper is different from my Ripper.
Mine drives a white car,
and mine has scars on his hand,
and mine likes to put shoes on their thighs.
Yeah, fucking idiots.
That's funny how we can.
So
Make
there
jokes
are
at cases.
3 separate investigations happening at this point. And remember Jane McDonald's case. They are also refusing to say it is a Ripper case because she was innocent. So therefore, because she was innocent, she is not a Ripper case. So not only are they doing injustice by not solving these murders, they're also doing injustice to her because they're not saying, yeah, she was a Ripper case.
Why you wouldn't? I mean,
so police are now starting to realize he's escalating his timetables and he's getting more violent. I mean, who would have thunk? Psychologists are messing with everything because of the profile. So one psychologist said he was a raving madman, that he would be snarling. They did include something in one psychologist did put something in their profile, because remember, profiles at this time had not been created. Profiling was not a thing. So psychologists, they're toying with how to make profiles. So somebody's like, one psychologist like, he's a raving madman, blah, 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 blah. But this one psychologist put something in here that was true, but nobody really paid attention to. This psychologist believed he was socially strange and would be someone who couldn't hold down a job or marriage or a long-term relationship. And this was true for him in his early years.
Yeah.
Before he got older. He was throwing housewarming parties with his wife and hanging out with people at the pub. The doctors were saying that the slashing of the Belvies were childbirth related, saying he wanted kids so badly, and whoever his wife or partner wasn't giving them one, so he was taking his anger out on these women.
She had no clue he was doing this.
Which, by the way, that's bull. No, they're not even saying his wife knew he was killing. They're basically saying he wanted to. He wanted
kids.
He wants kids. His wife
wasn't. Yeah.
His wife isn't giving him kids, so he's taking his anger on these sex workers by cutting open their stomach. That's not how that works. He chooses his own choices.
Yeah.
If he's angry, he's not having kids. He should have that talk with his wife and not kill women.
Mm-hmm.
What do I know? I'm just a woman.
You're a woman every day.
There was a doctor that George Oldfield consulted that was pretty dead on by something. Dr. Shaw and Stephen Shaw gave an interview to the Yorkshire Post in November in 1978. This was not the part he was pretty accurate on. He was pretty stupid with this one. In 1978, he declared that the Ripper was done. He said that Vera Millward was the last murder, was a crescendo, and now he was going to settle down and get married and never brutally torture another woman. I don't know where he got this idea. Wasn't the case. He said the Ripper found his true love. She was the woman, the opposite of a tart, possibly very. So he's calling these victims tarts, by the way. Let's just
really okay.
Was the opposite of a tart, possibly very religious, someone who was in his eyes as a paragon of virtue. While he was wrong in that regard. He was right saying that Peter was someone who could hide himself and live normally in the world. That's 100% true.
Yeah, because nobody's been able to figure out who he is.
He also said he was an over-controlled, aggressive psychopath, and this means he was cold, callous, and aggressive. But he doesn't learn from his mistakes and takes a lot of unnecessary risks.
That's a little accurate.
I think in the beginning it was more accurate. I think as he got older, that changed. As his life became more solidified with Sonia, them having a house, them moving family around, them having these friends, he became more scared of losing that, but he couldn't miss out on the thrill of the kill.
Mm-hmm.
So he got more careful as he got older.
I gotta check the potatoes. Sorry. Keep going.
He said that he killed when things were going bad, but when things were going good in his personal life, he didn't kill. That's not true.
Oh, hi, Mama.
He was killing even when things were going good in his life. I mean, they just bought a house and he killed. That night, they bought a house. He moved his parents into another place and he killed that night. There's no rhyme or reason. If honestly, it feels like he's killing when he's celebrating something. I think
Water hasn't even started boiling yet.
he said that he killed when things were going bad, but when things were good, he didn't kill. In the beginning, I think that was true, but I think it later on became a way of celebrating for him. I do think there may have been times he reversed that thought process, just simply based on the crimes itself. Like when when Yvonne got away and he jumped on her, that aggression. That's obviously things went badly for him, so he took his aggression out on them.
Right.
The body was not immediately found, so he took his aggression out on the next victim.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. But it almost seems to be celebratory. So the police start policing. They actually start doing their job.
What?
And they find the tire tracks belonging to a Ford Corsair. And they start interviewing people who are driving a Ford Corsair. And guess who's on the third list?
What? No.
Peter.
What?
Yeah. And they talked to him again in August of 1970.
That makes number 10.
No, I think
number
I think this is at point number 5 or 6 they've talked to
okay.
him. Okay. Because remember, in total, they've talked to him a total of 9 times.
Okay.
And they went to his home and they interviewed him there. He had the car. He was known to hang out around the area, and they had interviewed him previously for the £5 note that was found. And he was known to the West Yorkshire Police Department, and the fact he drove a red Corsair, they might want to look a bit closer. No, the police decided to.
Who are you kidding?
The police decided to police, and they brought the story that he drove and stopped in these places because they were on his way to and from work, and he emphatically denied using the service of sex workers. And they took him at his word, questioning nothing.
Tataru is looking at the TV right now. That's why I'm
Watching
pointing.
us.
She's all like, I see Willow's tail going back and forth on the TV. But how did those two get up there?
That might also be because police are ramping up presence in these areas, and so we're interviewing people. He also sold his red. So after this interview of them questioning him for the red Corsair, he sold it, and he bought a black Sunbeam Rapier. His mom died in November of 1978, and people said previously he was nice and polite, but then he became moody and rude after she died. When 1979 came around the corner, he was avoiding his neighbors and his coworkers, and he was just avoiding everyone. His mood was changing.
Sorry, we're watching Tataru. She's like, what in the world?
They're on the screen, but they're also behind me.
Tataru. Peanut. Hi. What are you doing? You're funny.
So he bought a new car. He's starting to get moody because his mom died. And then this is when the third Jack the Ripper letter was received. In March 1979, on the 23rd, a year after the first two letters, and after a year break between murders. So after he murdered Vera, he stopped for a year. This one had a taunting tone, pointing at the police's incompetence, and they also mentioned Vera Millward's murder and the fact she had been hospitalized before. The letter read, "Dear officer, sorry I have not written in about a year, to be exact, but I haven't been up north for quite a while. I wasn't kidding the last time I wrote saying the whore should be older this time and I'd strike in Manchester for a change. You should have taken heed. That bit about her being in the hospital, funny. The lady mentioned about being in the hospital before I stalked her whoring ways. The lady won't worry about the hospital now, will she? I bet you're wondering how come I haven't been to work for ages. Well, it would have been for you cursed coppers. I had the lady where I wanted her and was about to strike when one of your cruising police cars stopped right outside the lane. He must have been a dumb copper 'cause he didn't say anything. He didn't know how close he was to catching me. Tell you the truth, I thought I was collared. The lady said, "Don't worry about the coppers." Did she know that bloody copper saved her neck? That was last month. So I don't know when I'll be back on the job. But I know it won't be Chapelton. Too bloody hot here. Too bloody hot there. Maybe Bradford's. Manning. Might write if up north. Jack the Ripper. P.S. Did you get the letter I sent the Daily Mirror in Manchester? And then on Wednesday, April 4th, 1979, Peter would get a lot more worse and brutal. So this third letter is received, and they take the fact that it says in the letter Vera Millward was hospitalized before. That's new information. The press had been writing about how she'd been hospitalized like a week before she was killed.
Wow.
They're not even doing their job. So on Wednesday, April 4th, 1979, Peter would get a lot worse and brutal. The last three we've seen are pretty worse.
Yeah.
Because these women weren't sex workers. They're just, these three are considered the most brutal of the murders.
Okay.
And the reason they're more seen as the brutal of the murders is because they're not sex workers. They're just women.
Innocent women.
They're just innocent women. They were women walking home from work, women walking to their grandparents' house,
Mm.
and he killed them.
So now he's just being random.
Yeah. So the next victim was Josephine Joe Whitaker. And again, he had not killed for a year. So it's 1979 yet. He started killing in 1975. 1975. It's been 4 years. He's been killing for 4 years and nothing. They're not even close to him. I will also say, during this point in time, the police literally spent £1 million, I think, to make a thing where they had the letters on display. So people could walk into this display and read the letters and look at the handwriting and see if the handwriting may have been somebody they knew. They spent £1 million on it. They spent a bunch of money in this whole entire letter scheme. At one point, he did send an audio recording. I think I'm going to get to it. The audio recording. They spent so much money putting the audio recording everywhere.
Oh wow.
And it wasn't even him.
So like if you remotely think, if you think you might know who the person is talking.
Michelle, one of the buildings literally almost collapsed because of how many people were literally calling and going, "Hey, I think so and so is a Yorkshire Ripper." And they'd go, "Okay, add the name to the list, go into a little spinny wheel, pull the name, go, oh, we've had 2 more requests, add them to this file." They had so many that a building almost collapsed due to the amount of papers they had.
Oh, I remember you telling me that.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was completely disorganized. My OCD would be dying in these offices.
You missed it. Tatara was standing down here.
And she was watching.
And she was staring at the TV like, they're up there. How are they up there when they're right behind me? Are those broken?
No, he got new ones.
Oh, okay.
Are
those more comfortable? Oh.
So again, these are considered to be worse victims because they're regular women. Again,
oh, Peanut.
Fuck all of y'all. All of them are innocent.
Yes, they are.
So, Josephine Joe Whitaker was coming home from being at her grandparents' house. She was 19 years old when she was attacked. She was described as fearless and generous and really kind. She was also known to be confident enough to go up to people and just strike up a conversation.
Okay.
Um, People said after her death that if a man did approach her, she wouldn't think it would be for nefarious reasons. Peter later in his testimony said that she did not seem scared of him or frightened of him. So at the time, she worked as a clerk at the Halifax building, and on this particular day, on April 4th, she received a silver watch from her job, and she was excited to show her parents, and she decided to stop at her grandparents' home to show them.
Aw.
And when she got there, her grandma was at church function, and she wasn't going to be home till 11. So Joe waited for her. And when her grandma came home around midnight, and her grandparents were like, uh, "Don't go out," they were worried. She looked at them and she said, "I'll get home safe and quickly." And she headed for Huddersfield Road and went in the direction of Seville Park. Peter approached her from out of nowhere and asked if she knew the time. And she was not intimidated by him at all. And she let her eyes go to the clock tower and told him the time. And when she did that, he hit her over the head with a hammer. She fell to the ground and he hit her again and again. And when she stopped moving, he dragged her into the darkness 30 feet away. And this is probably because he hadn't killed in a while, and so he had escalated in a little bit. He brought a Phillips screwdriver and he stabbed her 25 times in the chest, stomach, thighs, and in her private area.
Jeez and crack. Good God.
Then he dragged her out of the darkness into the field and left her. The next morning, she was found by a woman waiting for the bus on the road. She noticed that she thought was a bundle of rags, and when she got closer, um, she realized it was a dead girl. She immediately called the police from the phone booth. A bus driver passed by and saw what was happening. They didn't know what it was, and all that they knew was that it chilled their blood, and they implored them to call the police and report. Now, when investigators showed up and began to process the scene, she was in the open, and there are crime scene photos that are they're not shocking because they're bloody. They're shocking because it's so unsettling of how simple it is.
Yeah.
The crime scene photo I'm specifically talking about is they took a photo and it's just of her shoe. She was wearing red high heels at the time, and her shoe was just on the grass, upright, not
Wow.
off to the side, just upright, just standing, sitting there. And they took a photo of it. It's the most unsettling thing because you realize it probably fell off when he was dragging her.
Yeah.
So,
That is pretty creepy.
yeah. When the investigator showed up to process the scene, she was in the open, and the original thought was she was hit by a car, and then she was thrown or she crawled. But then they saw the stab wounds, and they're like, "Nah,
I was
she
about to
wasn't
say,
hit by a
there's
car."
no way that a car's gonna stab her. Come on.
What makes this sadder is Joe's brother was doing his paper route as he walked by the park, and he saw a bunch of police, and he saw his sister's shoe,
Oh
and that
no.
was the shoe I told you about.
Oh, that
Um,
sucks.
and it's just sitting there.
Yeah.
But then he recognized the shoe and he ran home to tell his parents. They checked her bedroom and she was nowhere to be found. They called the police. I just kind of want you to see the shoe. Trying to see.
Or that photo of
That's
her right
that's a
there.
photo of her right there.
Wow.
I'm trying to see. These are multiple crime scene photos. These are a picture of all the victims.
Oh wow.
I'm trying to see. It is the most unsettling one I've been able to that I saw, which is because it's just sitting there in the grass. But yeah, this is the crime scene photo for her. Let me see if I can.
And when we have a different setup, we'll be doing things like this where we can share it with you.
Yeah. No, it was brown, not red. I can't seem to find it. Let me see. So this was where she was found,
Okay. The park.
the park, and what it looks like now. So
That
that's
was wow.
her.
Old photo. Very old photo.
Yeah,
This is
that's
back.
her body right there.
Wow.
Also, fun little thing about when police were doing investigating for the scenes,
Mhm.
you actually see there's a line of officers and they get on their hands and knees and to search for the vehicle, they actually go like this.
While the image is a notable part of the case's history, it is not publicly circulated photograph available for general viewing. So
Yeah, it's not typically. I think where I saw it was the Netflix documentary. If you really want to, Netflix documentary for the Yorkshire killing, it's called The Ripper. They have a lot of photos and they have a lot of information. Now George Oldfield was at the scene and again was hesitant to call this Ripper case because she was not a sex worker, but all the injuries lined up.
mhm.
Reports also began to circulate that she got in a Ford, and this was bumbled because the police were focused on the letters, and it seemed that the letters was from up north, and so they thought the letters were coming from a place called Chesterfield. Yorkshire's here, Chesterfield's up here. They sent a good majority of their police force up here to question people about the letters. They're fucking idiots.
We're establishing that.
Yeah. Then the audio recording came in and it was sent to George Oldfield, the audio recording I was telling you about.
Mhm.
And it says this: I'm Jack. I see you're still having no luck catching me. I have the greatest respect for you, George. But Lord, you are no nearer to catching me than 4 years ago when I started. I reckon your boys are letting you down, George. It can't be much good, it can't be much good, can you? The only time they came near me was a few months back in Chapelton when I was disturbed. Even then, it was a uniformed copper, not a detective. I warned you in March I would strike again. Sorry it wasn't Bradford. I did promise you that, but I couldn't get there. I'm not quite sure when I'll strike again, but it will definitely be sometime this year, maybe September or October, even sooner if I get the chance. I'm not sure where in Manchester. I like it here. There's plenty of them knocking about, and they never learn, do they, George? I bet you've warned them, but they never listen. At the rate I'm going, I should be in the book of records. I think it's up to 11 now, isn't it? Well, I'll keep you on going for quite a while. Yet I can't see myself being nicked just yet. Even if you do get near, I'll probably top myself first. Well, it's nice chatting to you, George. Yours, Jack the Ripper. Now, after receiving this tape, George held a press conference where he only played bits and parts of the audio and released parts of the letters. And he wanted someone to recognize the voice of a handwriting. This could tell was from the up north, like again, it was up here, and they had a rough estimate, and they said a crap ton of resources up there to find the man. The press also began their BS, calling Josephine a respectful woman, and that it was a sad death. So a perk about this was because she was considered a respectable woman, people were more taking this case more seriously, meaning there was more push on the police.
Okay.
And that also meant there was a lot of stress on George, who had a heart attack shortly after the recordings were sent, and he was hospitalized for a little bit. Sadly, at the time, Jim Hobson's wife also had an accident, and she fell down the stairs and fractured her skull.
Jeez.
Yeah. So now both senior officers were out of commission. So the investigations are still going with no real leader. And people started to
Just sounds to me like the 70s weren't good to anybody.
yeah. People started to like look into the case and they realized the letters were fake. In 1979, they realized the letters were fake.
And who decided that?
The police, when they realized that Yvonne Peter, the letter that was done March 8th, had not mentioned 9 killings, because if he was taking credit for Preston 75, he should have also included Yvonne Peterson's death, but he never did because it wasn't in the press yet. So that's when they connected it.
It took you that long to connect it?
Yeah. So on September 1st, 1979, Peter was on the prowl and he found Barbara Bradford. She was 19. She was a student at Bradford University, and she was celebrating a new semester with a ton of her friends from school. They were hanging out in Mansfield's Arms, which is a pub a lot of students visited, and they were doing what college kids do. And the place closed at 11, and Barbara and her group of friends made it a habit to stay late and actually help the owner, Roy Evans, clean up. And they did that late, around 12:45, and it began to rain lightly. And Barbara's friends were going to get a cab, but Barbara's like, "No, I want to walk in the rain." Her roommates waited for an hour because she didn't have a key to get in. And she didn't show up, and they figured she stopped somewhere with friends that she was out with. To their knowledge, she wasn't out alone, and I will get to that. So the next day they woke up and she still wasn't home, and they panicked and they were like, "Do we report her missing?" So they started to call around and ask if anyone knew where she was. At 4 p.m., police constable Simon Greaves walked his beat around the university in one of the yards of Back Ash Grove, and he found a pile of garbage along one of the walls that looked out of place. When he got closer, he found a dirty old carpet, a pile of bricks, and the body of Barbara.
Mm.
Now, the Ripper squad was called, and it was clear she was another victim. She had been hit on the head with a hammer at least once. Her shirt was pushed up, and she had been stabbed in the shoulder and stomach 8 times with a screwdriver. Her pants were unbuttoned and pulled halfway down, but no evidence of SA. So, investigator Jill Raines made another headquarters in Bradford, and he tried to get the Ripper squad together, but they were all over the place.
Stop making headquarters.
Mostly chasing the letters. Because even though they were like, "We're going to ignore these letters," a good part of the police force was still looking into the letters. Because they were like, "We're not going to let this lead go." So the press went wild because this was another respectable girl who was not a sex worker and was an innocent. Now, Britain's National Union of Students held an emergency meeting in Kent, and they ended up petitioning for women to be able to carry weapons on campus.
Oh, come on. They should have been able to carry weapons in the first place.
To protect themselves since the cops couldn't.
Well, that's a good slap in the face right there for the cops. There you go.
They also petitioned for better lights because the area she was found had virtually no lighting at night.
Hence why now at college campuses, if everybody notices, Pima has them, U of A has them, and probably every campus around the United States and maybe all over the world has it. If you go to do a tour at a campus, we went to U of A a couple of times because I wanted to see inside of a classroom. They never took us inside. UA sucks because the tour I wanted to see inside, but they did point out that they have this light that's literally, it's not far from the one that you just walked past. It is literally close. They're close by each other, but that's an emergency light that you can hit the button or you do something to get attention.
When I went to NAU, they have the colleges up at NAU because I was up at NAU for a month. At NAU, you have to hit 3 in a row. You have to go, "Hi, my name's Abby," and then you have to go run to the next one and go, "Hi, my name's Abby." Because what was happening is people were prank calling the police from those. So to show you're actually in an emergency, you have to hit them 3 times.
Oh, wow. So you had to go to one, say, "Hi, I'm Abby." Next one, "Hi, I'm Abby."
And then you can tell them you're in an emergency.
You sit there and say, "Hi, I'm Abby. Guess what? Fuckers chase me."
Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know if that's changed. That's the way it was when I went, that you have to hit 3 different ones.
I don't know about at the U of A. It might still be the same.
They
I just
never
know
taught
that
me anything about those at the U of A.
They did. They did when we just went to
You
walk
did the
around.
tour.
We did the tour.
I didn't do the tour of the U of A. I just went to the
because
U of
we
A.
went because they were talking about how they were like bonfires, and I just wanted the full on college experience because I didn't get that growing up. I didn't get to go to college except for the community colleges. They're also in some parking lots of Walmarts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the big machine that says "Step away, do not touch me" or something like that, and you're like, "Now I want to touch you because you said not to."
Yeah.
Just to see what happens.
So they also got classes to change the schedule so the classes weren't ending so late. So this time the students are like, "Oh, you just hit one? Okay." So the classes, the women in this college were like, "You know what? We need to carry women since the weapons, since the police can't protect us. We want better lights, and we need to get classes to change schedules so they're not ending so late, so we're not walking alone in the dark." And they also started a program where if women were at a school function late, they could have a man escort them home, another male student escort them home. Now, I will say, the 70s was the second feminist revolution. It was more, first revolution was to get rights to vote.
Mm-hmm.
Second revolution was for the ERA mostly, which was the Equal Rights Amendment. At least here in the United States, it's what we refer to as the Equal Rights Amendment. Fun fact, that was never ratified.
Oh.
Technically, under the Constitution, women do not constitutionally have the same rights. We just, when they say men, we go, that includes women.
Yeah. We're putting ourselves in the mix.
But in the 70s, there was a push for this Equal Rights Act, Equal Rights Amendment, which was not able to be passed by Congress because Congress did not want to vote on it and they kept denying it. And sometimes you can actually force an amendment if enough states vote yes on it. They missed it by, I think, like 2 or 3 states.
Oh.
So the ARA has technically never passed, and there has been a push in recent years to actually re-solidify and actually put the ERA into an amendment saying women are federally protected. We get the same rights as everybody else.
We don't care. I mean, we're going to put ourselves in there anyway. So whether you say yes to it or not, but we're in it.
So that's, I will say, the 70s was the beginning of the second feminist revolution of we can go to the workplace. We should be able to make the same amount as men. We should be able to go to work in male-dominated jobs too.
We should be able to be treated equally to you men.
Exactly. We should be able to be treated equally.
I mean, we were created
so
equally.
The idea that they couldn't be without a man out late at night was kind of pissing off the women.
Why do I have to have a man for everything? I mean, you have to have a man to make kids. Technically, now you don't. But hello.
So they're mad. And then on top of it, the police put in a curfew saying women needed to be in after 8 p.m.
Okay.
And this
what about daylight savings time?
This pissed off women even more.
When it gets darker.
Because women started to tell the police, we're the victims. We're not the perpetrators. Why don't you have men stay in past 8 a.m.?
I remember you telling me that. I do remember you telling me that.
They were like, in fact, women were turning down men actually walking them home because they'd be like, we're just going to walk in a group of all women.
Yeah,
we're safer in a group because again, they didn't know who the Ripper was. And so women would turn down men who wanted to walk them home. And the men would be like...
And the Ripper being a man, would you really trust a man to walk you home?
Exactly.
Would you really?
This is the part that gives me the biggest ick, is women were turning down men walking them home, and guys would be like, do you think I'm the Ripper? In a cocky way.
Oh, man,
like it's a compliment that they're thinking you're the Ripper.
It's not a compliment, dumbass. It's the severity of not of safety. That means any of you men, because they say that it's a man. Any man could be the freaking Ripper. Do you think I'm gonna trust your ass to walk me home?
Well, it wasn't only that. It was, one woman described it as they were holding it over women's head that there was a killer.
Oh, there's a killer. I'm gonna walk with you.
Exactly. And it was almost...
Give me Sylvester Stallone. He just punched him once and we're good.
But it was the idea that
they could use that.
They were using that as like, I have to walk you home because there's a killer on the streets. I don't want to walk you to walk me home. I don't feel comfortable with you.
And not after you just said that. Now, some women will find that as a, aw, thanks. You
and
care.
I'm not that kind of woman. That's a little weird. Why are you using this to your advantage to hit on women, my guy?
Yeah.
Why don't you act...
Tiana, always write 5. It's nice for men to like you. Actually, it feels good.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, it
but
actually
don't make it sound so dang creepy.
But exactly, using it as a way to...
It's like, oh, guess
what?
As
a form of power of, oh, there's a killer out there. I gotta walk you home. I don't feel comfortable with anyone right now because I don't know who this killer is.
It could be
because again, they have multiple different descriptions of a killer. They're like, what does he look like?
He's in his 30s. He's like mid-30s.
He's
35.
in his 40s. He's in his 20s. He's young. He has wavy hair.
But never once have
they
strayed saying that it's a female Ripper. It's a male Ripper. Yeah. So why would you feel comfortable? And at Tiana always write 5. I agree. It is nice for men to like you, actually, and that's all right. Men can like you. But I like the games men play. It's fun, but to each their own. Yeah, it's going to be to each their own because I don't like games being played.
I don't like
You got to treat.
I don't like the manipulation of it. That's the part that gets me. That's just who I am. I don't like the manipulation.
And just when she reads that and she told me about it, I was like, he did what? What is wrong with the? I have to agree.
That's like back in the day when like not back in the day when Ted Bundy was killing, and kind of like men were again using the Ted Bundy kind of excuse to like keep like, hey, there's a killer on the street. I need to protect you. I don't know who the killer is, and you're gonna. Yeah. What if you're the killer?
And so, like, pretty much every killer that we've talked about,
they're charismatic.
They're just a little, they're charismatic.
And but that's
but girls we manipulate back. It's about outsmarting them.
I would say more along the lines of, this was during a time he had already killed 13 women. At this point in time, he'd killed 11 women, 12 women, brutally. Mm-hmm. He had hit them over the head with hammers. He jumped on their freaking chests and crushed their ribs. He had stabbed them with screwdrivers. He tried to stab the victim with a chisel.
Which didn't work out so
Which
well.
didn't work out. There were just cuts all over her body, not stab wounds. And the police weren't doing anything because the victims were sex workers. Yeah. And then now that he's attacking respectable women. Yeah. Now people are like, it could be any of us. The police aren't doing anything. I don't know who this killer is. Do I want to be the next person who gets crushed by him jumping on my chest and crushing my ribs? Do I want to be the person who's hit over the head with a ball peen hammer?
And yes, you do want to outsmart people, but look, the lady that had scissors.
Yeah, she had scissors on her to stab him, and what did he end up doing? Shoving stuffing down her throat.
From a couch,
and then jumping on her chest and breaking her ribs.
So you want to outsmart people, but you also don't want to play into it.
Exactly, because some killers, being smart with them and outsmarting them, they enjoy that kind of game, and they'll keep you alive. And that's the thing. With each killer, it's to each their own. Some killers, you can do that. You can play that game with them, and they'll keep you alive because they're like, ooh, this mind game is a lot of fun.
They like to play games.
But if you start
doing goes both ways.
If you start doing that with the wrong killer, you're playing games with me? Oh no, I have the ultimate control here. Mm-hmm. I have the ultimate power. I'm just going to kill you because you're pissing me off. Yeah.
Oh, I don't mean outsmarting the killer. I'm just talking about men hitting on you.
Yeah, no, we're talking about this was during the time in England when there was.
If you just joined us at Tiana Always, we were talking about the Yorkshire Ripper.
Yeah, we're talking about a serial killer in the 70s that was killing at this point for 4 years, brutally murdering women, and the police were nowhere closer to solving the case.
So, yeah. Oh, laugh out loud. Okay, yeah. So, since you're just joining, understand. So we've gone through name changes. Number one, okay, we did change our name from A&M History. By the way, introducing ourselves, this is Abigail. I'm Michelle. Hi. We are the ones that do the podcast here. She's the brains behind the cases. I do some cases to lighten the mood, to pick something else to do. Mine's mostly about like Disney things and whatnot, but I've now found a case of my own that I may end up doing next year. I was like, damn, what kind of men do they know?
No, it was, we were specifically, because I think this particular one, because
this is a part 2, so you have to go back and watch part 1.
Yeah, because part 2 is.
But please like, share, and subscribe too while you're at it.
Yeah,
because the more people we can get to.
We mostly talk about we talked a couple about female killers. Yes. Right.
Yes, we did. Trunk murderess. That's a good one.
Trunk murderess was a fun one.
That was a good one.
Because women killers are always interesting, especially their mind setting. But we've mostly talked about men killers. So every time we're talking about
and our slogan, by the way, is we laugh at dark things. So when we hear something happens,
we make jokes about it.
We make jokes. Like, what was the one that we had a lot of jokes? And it was it the
Bayou Strangler?
Okay. Tiana, let me tell you something about the Bayou Strangler. That is my favorite. This sounds so weird to say this. That was my favorite one. That was my top notch. You see my grin. It's so sad. But at the same time, I loved it. It was such a great case that I will say that's my favorite one. If you go, we have okay, so you're going to see that there's 182 videos. Mind you, I also had a J&M's Adventures, which is my boyfriend and I, but we put the names together. So that's why it's J.A.M, but there's a J dot,
Yeah.
J period, A period, M period. So it's our names. And then history and life. So we do talk about our personal life. Like we're going to be moving next year. They're going to be moving. My now daughter-in-law and my son are both going to be moving.
Always dark
Oh,
humor.
always dark humor. Angela's not
There's
wrong on that.
Also, a lot of us right now, as of this case, joking about how the police can't do their job.
No. And let's go about that one. The other case for that one is the Blackout Ripper, right? No.
No.
Who is it that did that one? That one kind of bugged me. What was the one that bugged me the worst?
The one that bugged you the most was the Blackout Ripper.
That one bugged me the most. Okay, that one was
no
shoes. And we always come up with t-shirt ideas because I'm trying to get t-shirts.
Can we? I would like to sit with serial killers and ask them what their obsession with shoes is. I mean, I get the shoe fetish slayer. It's like in his name. But every other killer,
they would take their shoes out. Where are they running to? You killed them. Where are they running
Why
to?
are you putting shoes on the back of their thighs?
Are you? Is
because like that's the third victim he's done it to, where he put the shoes on the back of their thighs.
Yeah. So you have an understanding until we should have stopped right when we started telling you about it. Again, this is raw. This is uncut. We do not edit anything.
Okay.
Please continue though. Okay, don't let me derail. You're not derailing because we derail ourselves.
Yeah, we.
So
derail ourselves a lot.
Sometimes even our two moderators there, they help us derail a little bit just to break it up some.
Yeah.
So you're not derailing us. If you've got questions or you have comments, please make your comments.
Oh, you're gonna love this.
Okay. I don't want her to continue now.
Something police did try to do was in like
their 70
in 78 they tried to go down to the red light districts.
You are correct, Thomas.
They tried to go to the red light districts and tell them to stop working. These women who are literally just trying to make money.
Oh, speaking of police, you'd be proud. My bro caught
Yay!
Yay! Somebody that knows what the heck they're doing. My brother-in-law's a cop too, so he does people all the time. Good for him. Tell him congrats.
So
go get him a donut.
So it's like 78, and they tried to get sex workers to stop working. They were telling sex workers stop working. That's the only way you'll be safe.
That's telling a workaholic not to work.
And one cop said it was like talking to a brick wall.
I agree with that.
They're literally trying to make money to survive because, again, it is an economic crisis. Many of these people are literally at the edge. They're
you
homeless.
Said it was recession time, right?
Yeah.
Is what you were saying? I'm innocent. No, don't you lie to her like that. Angela, we're going to have a discussion on Friday.
So I actually got a video of a reporter going up to different sex workers and going, aren't you guys scared?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a valid question.
And the woman responded with yes. And he said, well, why are you out? And the girl responded with, I have to make a living. If there are other jobs, I do it. But there aren't any other jobs, so I have to live somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes sense.
That's like saying I'm tall. I like that comment.
So one of Barbara's professors wrote a letter to the Professor Hillary Rose, and she wrote a letter criticizing the police because I'm listing some of the things the police were doing at this point in time. They were interviewing boys at school who would have been 14 when the murders began.
Wow.
The police were also interviewing boys who joined the school in 1980, a year after she died.
Ooh, my birth year.
A waste of time, essentially. So she died in 79, and they're in 1980 now, interviewing people who joined in 1980.
Yeah, what's the point of that?
They're questioning people who would have been 14 when the murders began in 1975. Stupidity. Reminder, he was described as being in his 30s, not his teens.
Because they said he looked like he was in his 30s
Yeah.
when he was not.
So police started to go back to past victims and piece things together, and they started to look at cars, and they re-interviewed a bunch of people. In fact, they re-interviewed Peter like a 5th time or 6th time.
They're just not getting it.
And at the end, they interviewed him. Oh, I was wrong. It wasn't 9 times. It was 19 times.
Well, dang, she didn't add right.
No.
Oops.
So now it was different. Again, different teams investigating. There's no centralized evidence center. They aren't connecting anything. People who are interviewing him at point A and are re-interviewing him at point B. So like the reason he's been interviewed 19 times is because police precinct A is interviewing him but not telling C, D, or E, or F, or any of them.
Yeah.
And then precinct E is interviewing him and not telling anybody. And precinct B is interviewing him and not telling anybody. And there's all these different precincts interviewing him and nobody's communicating.
They got their alphabet backwards.
So
They're all over the place.
There's no heavy suspicion. To them, he was just this random guy. They never thought it was him. On the night Barbara was killed, he was doing home repairs on the house. Sonia was like, yeah, he was. But none of them followed up on the alibis. He had done the house repairs, and he was done with the house repairs at a certain point in time, and then he went out and hunted Barbara down. So Sonia wasn't lying.
He was there. He did do it. He did do the
But
house
then he
repairs,
went out to go drink.
which is something that he normally does because that's part of his MO.
Is
And then after he drinks, because he is an alcoholic, which we've established
Yeah.
since the very beginning of this.
So now, following the death of Barbara, police continue to focus on the north of England for those stupid letters and audio clips, which are leading nowhere. And until June 1980, police saw a car speeding down Manningham Lane, so they followed him, and they stopped him in his driveway, and they talked to him.
Again.
And it's Peter, and he had been driving down the street in 1980, and he was drunk, and neighbors reported him fighting with the officers about taking a breathalyzer. He blew so high he was arrested and taken to jail, and his license was suspended, and then he lost his job because of it.
Wow.
Yeah. He lost his job because he was speeding, not because he was killing women.
Yeah, clear that up.
One of the officers...
Don't drink and drive.
One of the officers, when arresting Peter, was like, you need to look into this guy about him being the Ripper.
Okay, so why did you randomly say that?
Because he looked like the photo.
Okay.
He looked like one of the descriptions.
So somebody was paying attention to the photo.
They still released him.
You know, when we thought just for once in your life you were going to do your job. Once in your life. Did you hear the sigh that came from me?
So on Wednesday, August 20th, 1980, a month later, 47-year-old Margaret Walls was leaving her job at the Department of Education. She was going on vacation the next day, so she stayed a little late to make sure everything was good. She walked into Leeds, walking a busier section, and she turned into a more secluded section of area to get home when Peter stepped out in front of her, and before she could even react, he hit her on the head with a hammer. He then looped a ligature around her neck, dragged her by the neck to the shadows of a private terrace.
Jeez.
He strangled...
He's upgrading his MO.
Yeah.
Keeps adding things.
He strangled her to death, and then he stripped everything off of her but her tights, and then dragged her body to a garden wall, where he put her under leaves and grass cuttings, again comparing her to garbage. The next morning, 2 gardeners found her and called the police. Detective Hobson, back after taking care of his wife, wasn't convinced this was a Ripper case, because kind of understandable. She wasn't stabbed, and she wasn't a sex worker, so that's kind of throwing him off. I can understand the ligature. I get that part.
Stupidity.
So another headquarters went up in Pudsey Station after canvassing the neighborhood.
That'd make it Precinct F.
Hobson treated this as an isolated incident and claimed she was not a victim of Peter until later when he was arrested and the ligature was still on his person. He kept that rope. Yeah.
So not only are we doing shoes on the thighs, now you're keeping the rope.
Yeah. He originally said he didn't want to kill her, then confessed to doing so because he couldn't find a sex worker, and he left his knife and screwdriver, so he had to make do with what he had. 1 month
Okay.
later, he came back to Leeds for another victim. He went to Huttingley, which is not a normal location. It's more suburban and busy. But on the evening of December 24th, Dr. Upte Bandara, a 35-year-old doctor from Singapore who was attending Leeds University on a scholarship from the World Health Organization, she was visiting some friends, and they had been on her way down Old Lee Road to go home. And she passed by a KFC, which is so weird to think about.
Get a gravy bowl. Just
And
kidding.
she said she saw a man staring at her in the restaurant, and it unnerved her, so she kept walking and actually sped up.
Okay.
And she turned down Chapel Lane and she rushed to get down the street to a street that was more lit. She suddenly got hurt and fell. He ran out. So it turns out Peter had run out of the KFC, ran behind her, and hit her on the head.
Come here.
And nobody saw a thing.
Like, why? Okay, first off, if a dude is running out of KFC, everybody's going to be like, what's going on? Why is he running out? Why is he going after? Why? Why did he go out the door?
Nobody
just sit
saw
there and
anything.
You want to know what's going on? Now we're all too dang nosy that we don't keep our nose out of anybody's business.
Peter then looped a ligature around her neck and tried to choke her. Someone came out of their house carrying the commotion. He freaked out and left. Dr. Mandera was lying there bleeding from the head. The neighbor that got out of their house called the police immediately.
Good job.
Now, Detective Newton appeared at the scene, and again, it didn't look like a Ripper attack, but it connected to Margot Wells' ligature mark. So they thought it was a different situation. They thought they had a second serial killer who was about 25 years old, 5'4", had black hair, a full beard, and a mustache.
Wow. Let's just keep adding these made-up men to that list. Let's do it. Let's make another building.
The odds of there being two serial killers operating in the same area is extremely low. Not impossible, but really low, especially for the 70s.
It's like their best friends calling each other, hey, you want to take this one out for me? I don't feel like doing it today.
Yeah. So, sadly, after healing, Dr. Bandera returned to Singapore.
I don't blame her.
Yeah, she was like, I'm not
She's
putting
like,
up
I'm
with this.
out.
Now, on November 5th, a month later, he was out at West Yorkshire, and this time he saw 16-year-old Teresa Sykes, who was out buying cigarettes. She had run out on an errand and was only 50 yards away from her apartment she shared with her boyfriend and infant son.
No.
He snuck up behind her, and she fell to the ground, and as she looked at him, he hit her again and again. And he thought she would be unconscious after the second hit, but that was not the case.
Dude, she had a baby.
She started screaming and fighting, and he bled because he was not used. He fled because he was not used.
I was
to
gonna say,
making
damn,
noise.
she scratched him. Way to go!
No, he fled because he was not used to them making noise. Her boyfriend actually heard her screaming because he was 50 yards away, ran out, found her on the grass, called the police, but sadly she couldn't give much info, except he had a beard and a mustache. Less than 2 weeks later, Peter was going to try and kill again. He called Sonia to tell her he was going to be late because of work, and she was pissed.
What?
Because I think he had been always saying, oh, I'm going to work, I'm going to work, I'm going to work, I'm going to be at work, I'm going to be at work, when in reality he's killing these ladies. And in actuality, he also was saying, I'm going to be late to work, when in reality he was just drinking.
Yeah.
So, he headed to Henningley and Leeds at the same time, 20-year-old Jacqueline Hill was attending a seminar, and she was kind, smart, and popular among her peers. She was very close to her parents and chose to study at the University of Leeds, just to be close to them. And she had a boyfriend that she really cared about. And she could have gone to any school she wanted to, but she didn't. She went to the one that was closest to her. And her mom was nervous about the murders recently and told her to stay safe. So after the seminar around 9:30, Peter saw her as she got off a bus outside that same KFC. She went down.
What KFC is the meeting place now?
I guess.
Jeez.
I don't know. She went down Alma Road, which is dark, and she was 100 yards from her apartment when Peter hit her over the head with a hammer. Her purse and glasses fell to the ground and immediately, and when she fell, he dragged her into the darkness. He pulled her clothing up and began stabbing her in a frenzy. He stabbed her in the chest, stomach, and left eye.
What?
Which is a little weird. He's never really stabbed anyone in the face before.
No.
I think he's getting frustrated because he kept killing and he kept failing. Because he's a little bitch boy.
Or they're all getting a good look at him before
Yeah. And then he left her there. Later in his confession, he said her eyes were wide open and she seemed to be looking at me with an accusing stare. You were killing her.
You were,
Of course she's
you were-
staring.
You are so special.
That shook
What
that's
in the world, dude? What do you expect?
He goes, that shook me a bit, and I jabbed the screwdriver into her eye, and they stayed open, and I felt worse than ever.
Good. It's not supposed to make you feel giddy and happy. What are you wanting?
Around 10 students from the University of Amir,
Tell them to close their eyes.
from the university, walked the area, and one of them was Amir Hussein, who was working in the area, and he found the purse and he took it back to his apartment because one of his roommates and took it back to his apartment. So he finds this purse on the ground. He picks it up. He's like, maybe I'm going to call the police and let them know about it, because his roommate was actually a former police officer in Hong Kong.
Okay.
And so they called the police, and he's like, yeah, you need to call the police. Call the police, and the police are like, what the hell? And they found blood smears on the purse, and that made everyone panic. One of the roommates later said that the officers seemed more interested in filling out a lost property form rather than investigating the blood smears that, and they had to convince the officers to investigate the surrounding area for the source of blood.
Right.
They only did that after having a cup of coffee, though. Yeah, let's have a cup of coffee before we go searching for a potential victim.
I mean, because that's more important.
What if she was still alive and she died during you drinking
your
that cup of
5
coffee?
minutes of coffee break?
They looked for her for 3 minutes in the direct area the purse was found before going back to the station. The next morning, an employee of the shopping center found Jacqueline's body. She was found 30 feet from where her purse was with her coat on her.
Dang, that's pretty sad when people that work in them vicinities find the body before you do.
And again, they had searched for her.
Of course they did.
And they didn't find her.
Sure.
She was found 30 feet from where her purse was.
That means they didn't go far enough.
Yeah. There is no evidence that anything happened to those officers that were called to that house.
Yeah.
Nothing was done to them. They got to continue. They probably got to, next time you need to search better. So
no more coffee breaks.
David Gee and the others didn't believe this was a Ripper case. In fact, they held a press conference saying they had no reason to suspect that the Ripper was involved.
Oh my
Lord. We cannot rule him out, but we have nothing to suggest it was him. It was only when George Oldfield came back from leave, because remember he had a heart attack.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that guy. Sorry, he's been in the hospital. I forgot about him.
Came back and he held another press conference on November 20th, and he was like, that original statement was false. This is a Ripper case.
So in other words, it sounds like to me he'd been following.
And then he said this line: "No woman is safe until he is caught."
That's a good line.
On November 25th, detectives received a letter at the military headquarters. It read, "To whom it may concern, I am writing to inform you. I have every good reason to believe I know that man you are looking for in the Ripper case. It is an incident that happened within the last 5 years. I cannot give any dates or places or any details about myself being known to the Ripper or if this man. It was only until recently that something came to my notice, and now a lot of things fit into place. I can tell you one of two things which fit. For example, this man had designs with sex workers and has always had a thing about them. Also, he is a long-distance lorry driver collecting engineering items. I am quite sure if you check up on the dates, you might find something. His name is Peter Sutcliffe. 5 Garden Lane, Heathen, Bradford." The letter was received by Detective Sergeant Booth, and it was marked Action to Trace. Interview Sutcliffe and priority number 1 before handing it to a policewoman to be processed with other credible leads. They ignored it.
Oh, good Lord.
When Peter was arrested in 1981, that letter was still sitting in the same basket it had been put in.
Wow.
Want to guess who wrote it?
His wife.
No.
Oh, damn.
Trevor Birdsall.
Who was Trevor Birdsall? Remind me.
His friend. The one who we got.
Oh, the one that was driving him around. Okay, sorry, I'm a little slow. We do. Here's another thing for you, for Tiana. Yeah, she does. I tell her not to tell me anything about these cases, so you get actual and possibly good responses from me and reactions. She does tell me a few things, like if it's going to be graphic, she'll tell me. I tell her, okay, tell me that part so it doesn't catch me by surprise.
Yeah.
Because stuff like it could be traumatizing to people. and that's why the Blackout Ripper is the one that that one bothered me.
Yeah, because I didn't.
To this
give
day,
a
I
full
still
one.
can't find my potato pillar. Throwing that out there. Still cannot find that potato pillar.
The ghost of the Blackout Ripper
Ripper stole my potato pillar. Okay, no idea where in the hell it's at. More or less, we're going to find it when we move. And then I'm really going to throw it away because I don't want it now. But I have a tendency of forgetting people in cases because, like I've told her, there was a case that we did. I was so bored out of my mind, I was going to sleep because it didn't catch my interest. So she's been trying to find cases that catch my interest, and I appreciate her doing that because I will sit there and be like, I'll look straight at the camera and be like, okay, is it done yet?
Yeah.
I'm so bored. But every case that she has found has been very interesting. And I get excited for certain ones, like the one that Krampus. Okay, I can't wait for Krampus either. But the Scotland one, I'm excited for. That when we started doing this, I know we need to finish this because I have to go pick up John here in a little bit. But the fact that we started doing this, I just look at her. I'm like, hey, do you want to do a podcast? She's like, all right. So she starts finding things, and then she told me that she was gonna do the one. What was the Bayou Strangler?
The Bayou
She goes,
Strangler.
Here, you have a choice. We can
It
either
was
do
the
the
kidnapping of Barbara Mackle or
the Bayou Strangler.
Bayou Strangler.
And for some stupid odd reason, I was like, Bayou Strangler, let's do it. It's in Louisiana. Come on, let's find it again. That's my favorite case. And we've had, and Angela, Abigail, and myself, we've all three had discussions about there's nothing wrong with having a favorite case. There's nothing wrong with having.
Because usually it's not that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so infatuated with the person who did this.
It's not. It's the interest in it. And for me,
complexities of
yes. And for me, it's the interest. I like again complexity of it. It's like, okay, well, what did this person do? They lived in Louisiana. There's a lot of marshes. There's a lot of places to do these things, and he did a lot.
He killed during a hurricane.
Yeah, he did that, and I'm like, damn, dude, you're that desperate. Okay, so like things like this person.
Didn't he operated for 18 years, didn't he? And the police never caught him.
Yeah,
because there was the homophobia, because he was killing, and the racism, he was killing black gay men.
Yep.
And they were like, oh, it's just black gay men.
You know what, Tanya? If you come back on here next Monday, we usually go on anywhere between 3 and 6. We just pick a time and we start. We don't tell nobody. We just jump on, and then you should get a notification. So hit the notification bell so you can be here next Monday because we're doing it. It's our Q&A plus Krampus. That way, so every time what we do at our Q&A is we've done 10 cases.
Yeah.
From the last Q&A, we talk about what our favorite cases are. She has to remind me what the cases are because I forget.
I'm also gonna get a little confused because I have so many cases on my computer right now. Because I'm pre-writing them for pre-recording.
Yeah, she's pre-recording.
Yeah.
So those are things that we do. So definitely come back next Monday so you can be a part of the Q&A.
So Trevor.
Yes,
Trevor. His friend, who, if you don't recall, he got out. He followed a woman. Peter followed a woman, hit her over the head with a rock. And then he later, when the police questioned him about it, he was like, nah, it was my fist. And the police were like, okay, my bad, bro. Trevor had been driving him. He told Trevor to pull over, and then he did that. Trevor was his best friend, and then they had a falling out.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor said too many things lined up, and he couldn't live with himself because he started to see the things lining up. And when after he wrote that letter, because remember, he wrote it anonymously.
Yeah.
He was like, okay, they're not taking it seriously because I wrote it anonymously. He went to the police station.
Yeah.
Spoke in person to the police. Gave them an in-person statement. But they never followed up on it or even passed it to a senior officer. The police were still too focused on the letters. The ones that they were pretty sure were fake. And some officers, a good majority of officers, believed they were fake. But Oldfield and all the others didn't. The higher senior rankings didn't believe they were fake.
Yeah.
So in December of 1980, Jack Windsor Lewis, who was a linguist, examined the letters and published that the letters were a hoax, and it was not the real Ripper who wrote it. So he urged the police to release all the letters and all the tapes so people could figure out the person who derailed the entire investigation. So on January 2nd, 1981, Olivia Rivers had been working on a street in Sheffield for a few hours when she ran into Peter. And he had approached her friend, but her friend had rejected him. And her friend told Olivia there was something in his eyes that scared her.
Mm.
So Olivia decided to ignore that anyway. She got in his car and he was talking about his wife and he was being weird. And while they were talking, a police officer pulled up. And Peter was like, "You have to tell them you're my girlfriend." She was like, "Okay, this isn't my first rodeo. I've been pulled over with Johns in a car before." And he actually had a bad registration because he had stolen someone's registration. But the officer recognized Olivia, and because she had priorly been arrested for solicitation.
Okay.
So they were both arrested. When Peter told the officer, "I have to pee." So the officer let him duck behind a bush and pee. He came back and was then arrested. This is going to come back important later.
Okay.
When they got to the police precinct, Peter was interrogated for hours about solicitation and stealing car registrations. Sonia called the station because she heard he was arrested. The police told her the charges were solicitation and stealing, and because of all the recent murders, all suspicious men arrested in the company of sex workers had to be reported to the Ripper Squad. Peter was moved to Dursbury Station and interviewed further. Things were starting to line up, and George Oldfield was like, "Wait a minute." He mentioned he had a white Corsair at one point, and he was a Lowry driver, and his job being scheduled what it was, and the police started to see things and saw his name kept popping up quite a few times, and there was something to that the release to the found they had not released to the press was that one of his victims had scratched him. There was blood found at one of the scenes, and the person who the killer was had a very rare blood type.
Ooh, is he O positive or AB?
It doesn't say exactly what his blood type is. Type AH.
The frick is AH?
Oh, let me double check that.
Never heard of that. It's rare.
AH is A antigens. Type A blood characterized by A antigen cells with variation of A plus or A negative. It's common, but A minus rare can also be referred to a rare variant of a phenotype. Basically, it's rare.
Wow.
It's a really rare blood type.
Huh.
And so they're like, "Okay, we need to see if this blood type matches him." And lo and behold, it did.
But they let him go.
No. So Sergeant Ring, the arresting officer, was like, "Oh shit, I let him pee behind a bush."
Well, he had to pee, dude.
So, but I actually think I heard metal hitting the ground when he went pee behind the bush.
Then he got some bad bladder issues.
So he was like, "I'm gonna get back and look in the area." Drives back to where he arrested him, goes behind the bush where he was peeing, and he finds a ball peen hammer and a large knife on the ground.
Wow. Way to go, Peter.
They found all of his alibis fell apart when they did an actual investigation.
The cop that did their job.
And what made it worse was when the police went to Sonia and was like, Peter said he was home all these days. And she was like, "Fuck no, he wasn't at home any of those nights."
She threw your ass under the bus.
He called her to tell her he was working late.
He threw your ass.
And she was mad. She got mad that they were like,
"Watch her, she used a ball peen hammer on you ass."
So Peter looked at Detective Inspector John Boyle, the hatching head of the Ripper Squad, and said, "I think you're leading up to the Yorkshire Ripper." And the detective was like, "What about the Yorkshire Ripper?" And he leaned back in his chair and went, "Well, that's me."
Oh, wow.
So Peter Sutcliffe was like, "Well, I've been caught. They're interviewing me for hours.
Might as well do it now.
Might as well just
Relax and take it in." God. What a...
He made almost a 24-hour confession of all of his crimes. Now, during which he denied sending letters or audio, and he said he never communicated with the press or police. He also said the press in 75 was not him. The police, though, were still hell-bent on believing the person who wrote the letters and the audio tape was real.
That's because y'all dumb.
So they have a man who was literally confessing to the murders, was saying, I never wrote letters. I never did an audio tape. And the police are like, maybe.
Okay.
And they're like, nah, whoever wrote these letters, they're the killer. Not you. Not the man confessing to it. Fucking
They
stupid
ain't got no
idiots.
brains.
The letter, the identity of the actual writer of the letters and audio was unknown until 2005.
Oh, wow.
More than 25 years later, it was found to be a man named John Humble. His lawyer said he was a substance abuser who thought it was all a joke. He was charged with perverting justice and went to jail for 8 years.
Stupid.
Peter wrote him a letter in jail.
Don't do drugs.
Saying, those last 3 girls I killed are your fault because I would have gotten caught sooner.
Oh, wow. So he put the guilt trip back on that dude.
Yeah.
Ouch.
He said, you could have saved those 3 women, John. You have their blood on your hands. You could end up in Broadmoor with me. That's where you belong. I've heard you got 8 years in prison on Tuesday for the crimes you committed. I'm not surprised you got that length of time, because what you did was indeed bad. For the murder of Joan Harrison, or Preston 75, so now separating from that letter, for the murder of Joan Harrison, or Preston 75, her killer was found in 2011, and they were able to actually find her killer based off of DNA.
Wow.
Her killer was a man named Christopher Smith, who was a violent sex offender and criminal from Leeds. He actually died in 2008. But in his apartment, they actually found a letter saying, I can't go on with my guilt. I've lived with it for 20 years.
Wow.
I'm truly sorry for all the pain I've caused.
Wow.
Oh. A case that happened in the 70s got solved in 2011.
It only took them so long to do it. Come on. Ouch.
So on January 5th, 1981, the news went public in Sheffield. They had arrested a man who they believed to be the Yorkshire Ripper. Chief Constable Gregory told the media, we are delighted about the developments at this stage. And he said that they were immediately scaling down the search for the Ripper because they believed he had him. Now, Peter was held in Armory Jail in Leeds and was indicted for 13 murders and 7 attempted murders. He pled guilty, but his defense was he was temporarily deranged and would be putting in a defense of diminished capacity. I'm sorry, you can't say you were temporarily deranged for 5 years.
No. You may not.
But now he's present and he's listing every detail when he's being questioned by police. As soon as there was a defense attorney, he started hearing voices and he wasn't understanding. So beginning of the thing, he's like, Yorkshire Ripper, that's me. And I was like, what are the voices saying? Very much Harley Quinn. What did the voice the where she's like, what did the voices say? I should shut up and kill you all? Something like that. That's essentially what he started doing.
Acting like a psycho.
Yeah. He was interviewed 11 times by a Dr. Hugo Milne, but it was a defense doctor that said he had a schizophrenic illness. Remember, his wife was diagnosed with schizophrenia.
Oh, wow.
So he knew what schizophrenia looked like. He took care of her for multiple years. And she was managing her symptoms. So Peter began trial on May 4th, 1981, and he was going with a defense of mental illness. They had 2 psychologists who said that he would smile and giggle at serious topics, but they believed it. Back in the day, it was a schizophrenic symptom. They only argued he killed women because he was hallucinating. But the prosecutors general, Sir Michael, agrees. He was like, no, I think they prompted him, and they had recordings of when he was like, yeah, you let him on. They also brought up the 24-hour-long confession that never came out. And they basically said it never happened. Oh, wow. They tried to say that those things never happened. They tried to suppress it. The Crown said he was a cold-blooded, calculated murderer, had made this up because he knew he was going to the loony bin because he could risk going to the loony bin for 10 years instead of going to prison for 30. So basically, they're like, you're falling for this bit where he's pretending to be crazy so he can go to a crazy house for 10 years.
When he belongs in a jail.
When he belongs in prison for 30.
Yeah.
Dr. Hugo acknowledged he caught Peter lying multiple times. Finally, the defense asked if he was on a mission to kill sex workers. What about the women who are not sex workers? And the defense said he thought they were.
Okay.
The jury voted 10-2 in conviction on 13 counts of murder after 6 hours of deliberation.
10-2.
2 people thought he was crazy.
Oh, good God.
And I get it. Hearing the atrocities of the murder, some people just look at it and go, you
That's
have to
nuts.
be crazy. You
Yeah.
have to be crazy to do this. So on May 22nd, he was sentenced to life in prison, and the judge spoke right at him. And he was recommending an unusual long period of incarceration because you are an unusually dangerous man. So for most of the time in England, they don't usually do life in prison in England.
Yeah.
They try to do like a rehabilitation program where they rehabilitate you and then they put you out in the public. But because he was an unusually dangerous man, as the judge called him, they were like, you're getting life in prison. He was sent for life, and in the years following the conviction, he hopped from Parkhurst Prison and Broadmoor Prison, and he was treated for certain things. He actually became a target for other inmates in 1997. His cellmate stabbed him in his eye. Here's looking at you, kid. He became a.
Wow.
Sonia still lived in the house, the one that she fell in love with. She divorced him, stayed in the house. They got divorced in 1994, and she got remarried. After they got divorced,
Good for her. I would change
she
everything about that house.
I think she did, but
Okay.
she loved that house when they first bought it. I'm glad she didn't go, I have to sell this house. I can't. No,
I can't do this. The dude was never home.
exactly. He was never home. He was out killing women
He
and
was
drinking.
never there. So
Lawrence Bryfoot was put on lead investigation into the investigation.
okay.
He concluded that the investigators had made many errors and they engaged in poor practices.
We gave you that clue.
And he said it was absolutely, these practices absolutely stopped them from stopping him earlier. He said poor communication between departments was the number one error.
You think?
They had interviewed this man so many times on separate occasions, but they never put it together. He also pointed out putting on the emphasis on those letters and audio tape hindered them from stopping him. He said since Peter was never regarded as a suspect for the letters in the tape, he was eliminated from the suspect pool. The investigation cost about £7 million.
Jeez.
And that was because of the traveling sideshow that the letter and audio show that they took around to shopping centers trying to find the killer with the letters and tapes.
Which did no good.
It did no good because it was a different person who wrote them. In November of 2020, Peter Sutcliffe was diagnosed with COVID, and he died at University Hospital in North Durham.
Who did?
Peter
Peter?
Sutcliffe.
Oh darn.
He was 74 years old.
Jeez. And he got away with murder for how many years?
It was only after his death the police force apologized to the victims for how the case was handled.
Should have been apologizing before that.
Because no, if they apologized for
Dimwits.
how the case was handled when he was still alive, he could argue that look, they're apologizing for how the case was handled. There was obviously something wrong done in the investigation. You need to reopen my case.
Oh, true.
So they waited until he died.
Okay, so I can see why they waited until.
Yeah.
Okay.
They apologized to the for how the case was handled, how their loved ones were spoken about in the press. Chief Constable Roberts said the language used at the time was wrong then as it is now. On behalf of West Yorkshire Police, I apologize for the additional distress and anxiety caused to all relatives by the language, tone, and terminology used by senior officials at the time in relation to Peter Sutcliffe's victims. Such language and attitudes may have reflected wider social attitudes of the day, but it was as wrong then as it is now. A large number of officers worked to identify and bring Peter Sutcliffe to justice, and it is a shame their hard work has been overshadowed by the language of senior officers used at the time, and effect which is still felt today by surviving relatives. Luckily, those attitudes are consigned to history, and our approach today is wholly victim focused, putting them in the center of everything we do. Now, Richard McCann, Wilma's son, the one who said he didn't process his mom was gone until they were pulling up to the children's home, he said he's the one who pushed for the apology. He said he wanted her to be described as nothing but an innocent victim. Anything else is unacceptable. I'm also going to give you a little spiel here.
Mm-hmm.
There was a young female reporter at the Sunday Times, and she noted that men were solving the case and men were writing the stories, but there was no female voice. So she decided she was going to be the female voice.
Good for her.
This was all during the investigation, and I wanted to do this specific piece because this is the most aggravating thing I have read, and if I wrote something, we would be derailed for a good period of time.
Yeah.
The Yorkshire police had sent a special report to all police stations, even the FBI, about the Yorkshire Ripper. And she knew this. And she also knew that under America's Freedom of Information Act, she could request it. And so she did. Because in Europe, they can't get that information. But if she went to the FBI, who has to give that information when you request it, especially if you're media of the press, they have to give it to you.
Right.
So she sees a brown letter arrives. And she is heartbroken by what she finds in the report. There's a shit ton of misogyny in that report.
Yeah.
The report opened with the line of, "It is significant, although most of the victims are prostitutes of loose moral character."
Okay.
That's how they begin the report.
Wow.
Wilma McCann, the first victim, during the latter months of her life, McCann was neglectful of her home and children. Her house was filthy in a deplorable condition. She regularly left her children and went drinking until the early hours. She was presented as a prostitute. She and others had no prior conviction, so there was no way to back that up. For all they know, she could have not been a prostitute, and she could have actually just been coming home from a bar. They had no prior convictions, and that's how most of the time people are deemed as prostitutes, is prior convictions.
Yeah.
There was no basis for that other than assumptions about how she lived her life. Irene Richardson was another one. There was no evidence she had prior convictions or evidence she was a sex worker. They wrote that they thought she was an active prostitute.
Oh, wow.
There was also a quote from the police saying she was living fairly respectfully up about 10 days before she met her death. She seemed to have gone down in status and may have been acting as a prostitute. In that special report, they said women were of loose morals. Another victim was said to have a Jamaican boyfriend. Why does it matter if her boyfriend's Jamaican or not? She was killed.
Yeah. It doesn't make a dang difference.
She was accustomed to going to public houses. Another victim was said to have an insatiable sexual appetite. What does that have to do with her being murdered?
Yeah. It's like you're putting the blame back on them.
And that was how they wrote most of the report. You would read a line. I literally saw bits and pieces of this report, and in every bit and piece, I was like, and does that matter? Why does that matter?
Trying to justify it.
And that was all in the special report that was sent to the FBI.
Wow.
And so I pose a question. How can a police force solve a case if they think so lowly of a victim?
Good question. Because you don't know nothing about the victim. Because you don't know anything about the victim. You never took the time to even
Also,
try to reach out about the victim.
Can we please talk about her home was unkempt? What the fuck does her home have to do with her being murdered? She wasn't murdered in her home. She was murdered in a field.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with her. Why does that matter? Her home doesn't have anything to do with it. You're just trying to justify possibly why she was killed.
Yeah, you're trying to justify why she was killed.
Shit.
But
don't
you're not
justify it. You're not digging into who she was as a person, as a mom. Okay, a lot of these women were moms, or
26 children left without mothers.
Yep.
26.
I mean, great that they apologized, and I get now why they waited.
Even the apology though was like, I apologize for the
vague.
language that was used. Okay, you apologize for the language, but what about the complete and total
annihilation
dropping of the case? Like, you dropped that case. That wasn't just language.
Yeah.
You dropped it. You failed the investigation. Mm-hmm. But it's so sad our officers don't get the recognition they deserve for solving the case.
What recognition? They didn't
Your
solve
officers
anything.
solved it because one police officer went, "Oh, you're a prostitute. Let's go and book you for solicitation with this John." If that officer had not pulled up to that car, he could have been still killing.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't because you guys went, "Nah, we got him. We're gonna do a sting operation." No, you got him on pure chance.
Yep.
Exactly. That's the question.
Right?
So again, the question: how can a police force solve a case if they think so lowly of a victim?
You can't.
You
They
can't.
can't.
Because if you cannot empathize with a victim, you cannot
You're too
have the
busy.
heart to solve it.
You're too busy trying to justify it and point the finger.
Yeah. You're too busy trying to justify the murder
Mm-hmm.
because you think they deserve it.
Will you text John and see if he's back at the store yet? Usually, the reason why I'm like kind of antsy in the end is because usually if I'm doing a video or we're doing a video, somebody calls right when we're doing it. So, and John's a driver, so I have to go pick him up because he doesn't have a vehicle to get home. I just want to make sure if he's not at the store yet.
I did.
Okay.
So yeah, that is the Yorkshire Ripper.
That would have been a part 3 one. I had to leave sooner. Yeah, don't justify and don't point the finger at people when you're doing things. Just don't. No, regardless of what it is. Regardless, whether you're doing a case, whether you are meeting somebody.
And it's like even like when we're talking about like I think we were, what was it, Kemper. We were talking about Kemper. His childhood was a fucked up childhood.
Mm-hmm.
His mom locked him in the basement.
Yep.
That you can empathize with somebody for having a terrible childhood.
What is it that you say? You can empathize.
You feel sorry for the child, not the adult.
There you go. So yeah. So and there's quite a few cases
Where you feel, yeah.
where you feel that. So at Tiana, you're still on here. Definitely, if you get the chance to go back and look at some of our past cases, it'll start out with A&M podcast. So when it starts out with A&M podcast, then you just go from there. I actually have a separate playlist. I think
our first murder case that we did was the Trunk Murderess.
Yep. And it's on a playlist. So I do have a separate playlist that says A&M podcast, and it's a playlist. And I need to go back in and add these because every time we do 10 cases, I'll literally take that whole thing and go slap it onto Facebook to get people just to go over there and look. I mean, we have 181 people right now. And so, I mean, that's pretty good. That's not bad at all.
And like, for those, like, for example, like I said, I have literally typed up so much. We have to make an extra episode because the Disney episode didn't go through. So I'm in the middle of writing Ed Gein's, which is, I think, it's April's. Because I finished all of March. April's is pretty much going to be pre-recorded. And then which also means she's got to watch Psycho.
Yeah. And then not only that, we also got to pre-record May's. And I have to get those put up there and set.
Well, I think April is 2 episodes are Ed Gein. And then that's when we begin the Tucson cases.
Yeah.
We begin with, I think, Gary Triano. I think we begin with the gentleman that they thought was a mob murder. I think we do Isabel Solis, which is an unsolved case here in Tucson. So that one might be a little smaller because it's unsolved. There's not a lot of information on it. And then what is it? And then we have, I think that's when we start Jack the Ripper. I think in May we're doing Jack the Ripper because it's going to be a long one. We can like pre-record back to back to back. Like with the Ed Gein episodes, we can, the 2 where I'm talking about Ed Gein, we can record back to back. And then we can do like, we watch the movies and like talk about the movies and how like we hear about the case, right?
Yeah.
We see the movies and then we just, you know what, how they connected this and this and this. It was that kind of thing.
And then the one that I found, I actually found it today while I was at work. And if you all remember the actress, if anybody's ever watched Descendants, she plays Maleficent. She plays Maleficent in Descendants, and then she's also in Four Christmases. Um, she's also in I think it's Jingle All the Way. No, 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 not Jingle All the Way. Deck the Halls with Matthew Broderick and Danny DeVito. She plays the wife to Danny DeVito. Um, she is from Oklahoma. Obviously an actress, and I never knew she was from Oklahoma. Well, then now I know that she is. She's actually doing a series on Hulu, and what it is about, it's about the Oklahoma Girl Scout murders. So with that, was telling her, is like, she finds these cases. I send it to her.
Mhm.
I'm not asking her to do it because I told him, like, you know what, I may have found me a case. After I sent it to her, I didn't put that in there. But when we got home, I told her, I was like, I may have found me one, just to look into it. Watch the series on Hulu, look into it and get into it. And then the Disney case, well, it's technically not a case. Uh, it was about Walt Disney and who he was as a person, how he became to be, how he became famous, and all this other stuff. The look on her face. But that was what was supposed to be last week, but because I came down sick, I couldn't talk very much because it hurt too much to talk. But
My
I
God.
will have to do that next year, close to Christmas,
You could do
because
that. You could, instead of doing the Ed Gein watching the movies, we could watch the movies, because Ed Gein's case, I will say, it is a little long on like the childhood, because his mom was a little guacamole, a little wacky.
mhm.
Um, but once we get to his older life, his murder career doesn't really last long.
I'll see this.
His murder career doesn't last long. So I will say we could probably do 1.5 episodes, where like the other half could be after we watch a movie,
Yeah, maybe.
after the movies. And you could do the Oklahoma girl murders before we start the Tucson murders.
Well, I'm gonna look into it and see because I
Yeah,
don't
because
know
I'm
when it
looking
starts as
into it.
Hulu.
The thing is, I'm looking into it now.
It's a
There's
Hulu series.
there's the Hulu series, and then there's I think there's other documentaries on it.
Yeah, it has her specifically doing that.
Mm-hmm.
She's helping. What she's pretty much doing is going back to get answers and also trying to help
Yeah.
not resolve, but get closure for the families of the girls that were murdered. But
Yeah.
it was Girl Scouts.
Because I guess
Because I was in Girl Scouts.
they have the Keeper of the Ashes, the Oklahoma Girl
That's
Scout
it.
murders.
The Keeper of the Ashes.
They have the Girl Scout Murders, which is a documentary series from Fox Nation, follows an author's investigation into new details.
Okay.
2020 did a piece on it.
I have a lot of research.
And then there are other platforms. I will say, from the looks of it, it does look like an interesting case. There are some, I will warn you before we even begin. Even Arizona Daily Star wrote a piece on it.
Wow.
Okay. Also, I have been doing cases and pre-recording cases. The amount of times Phoenix pops up in a case is astronomical. It's so weird.
Wow. Oh, my brother. I feel bad for him now. The middle name.
Yeah.
He'll leave
Wait till you find out why he was in prison in the first place.
Wow. 8-9. Locust Grove. Camp Scott. Near Locust Grove. Also Oklahoma. Yeah, so this might be something that I want to take a part of. I was born and raised in Oklahoma. I lived there for 26 years, and you don't know these things. You don't know this stuff happens.
We could do this. Yeah, we could do this either before the Tucson murders or after, so you can watch it. But you could do that case before you leave as kind of like a Tucson and Oklahoma.
Yeah, because to me, I would like to know more about it. So apparently, I've got some research to do. So I do want to watch the Hulu series.
Yes,
I want to see what she comes up with.
It is an interesting. I looked at like a Wikipedia page for it. It does look interesting. And I think he died too early already. I think.
And that's another thing that we do at Tiana is we do find interesting cases, but at the same time we also have much respect, and we respect the ones that this stuff has happened to. Yes, there's dark humor because again we laugh at the dark things
What is
because
it?
it
We
helps.
died. We started laughing. Like, I don't say we died of laughter. I think we sat silent for about a good 30, 45 seconds and then started laughing when I read the part where Kemper tried to suffocate a woman by shoving his fingers up her nose. Not like covering her fingers up her nose and then like covering her mouth, because like that would suffocate somebody. But no,
Just the fingers.
just fingers up the nose. And he was like, it didn't kill her.
What? No shit, Sherlock. And that's the stuff that we laugh at. We will never ever laugh at somebody who was brutally murdered.
No.
Never.
That's
Now we will laugh at the idiots that did it because how stupid are you?
That's just stupid and ridiculous.
Mhm.
What was it? Oh, we also started laughing at Kemper because when he stabbed the woman, he touched her boob, and in the middle of stabbing her, he was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, why would you apologize to the woman's boob? You stabbing her.
You're killing someone and you apologize for stabbing because they were touching their boob?
Feel like you got to touch the boob, dude. That's what some dudes are probably.
That's,
Dude, you touched her boob.
Granted, again, he was into necrophilia, so it was probably
Yeah.
because she had a heartbeat. He was like, "Oh, I'm sorry,"
But
but as soon as she was dead, he was fine with it.
Yeah. So if we, again, that's our slogan.
Yeah,
That is our slogan. We laugh at the dark things and it helps.
yeah.
And yes, you will catch me laughing at certain things that she says, and I'm like, okay, sorry, didn't mean to laugh at that.
Because me and her both have a very similar coping mechanism where we laugh when we're
It's
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable. Yes.
Where we are uncomfortable with something, we go.
And then we explain why, so that way it's made understood.
We're not laughing because we think it's funny. We're laughing because this is
very
unsettling to us, and the only way we're being able to cope with it is
laugh.
I think
about it.
I think what was it? The potato peeler, the blackout ripper. He killed somebody with a potato peeler. Like, he didn't kill him with a potato peeler. He tortured them with a potato peeler.
That's why I can't find mine.
Yeah. And when I first uttered those words, she was like,
and I was like, you know what? I'm getting rid of our potato peeler, and now we can't find it.
And it was bad. And I had to show her what I think we were also looking for. He also used not a potato peeler, a can opener.
Oh, dude, the can opener he used.
Yeah, and so I had to show her what like a 1930s can opener looked like, and she was like, "Oh my god!"
And I was like, "Okay, yeah, no, no."
Because 1930s can openers were a whole level like
they are like
sharp. They look like torture devices.
Yes, and I was like, "Yep, never getting one of them." Okay, you know.
Yeah. So
and we also do cases on. We've done cases on witches.
Yeah, witches, vampires. We tried to solve the Salem witch trials, about why the Salem witch trials happened. We gave a theory as to why we think it happened.
Yeah.
And we think it was just a good old fashioned mix of hysteria, a fungus, and just
a mix.
A mix. It was a mixture of the political, socio-economic fear of Salem, plus mass hysteria, plus people a little bit high on a fungus that grew because of the rye being processed wrong.
Yeah. So we have a lot of cases. I mean, we do a lot of things. We have our spooky season.
We have
we have to get a better Christmas season. We do need to do that. But that's just us working on stuff right now.
Yeah, which I'm
until we get in
I'm trying to think
swing.
of like there's not a lot of Christmas cases. Mm-mm. There's not a lot of like Christmassy, like, to me, and I hate to say it, the Yorkshire Ripper was like Christmassy to me because it was like New Year, England, Europe.
Yeah.
Old school Christmas. But we're actually beginning the new year because of the Disney case. We're having to do the Beast of Berkshire. So we're having to do a Scottish case in like the first week of January.
I'm excited about that one too. I just want to see what.
No, you're not.
Well, I'm right now, but when we get started, probably not.
When we start doing the case, you're gonna be like, especially the part when, I will warn you this: a woman is sleeping in her bed and she wakes up in the middle of a night to a man at her window trying to open the window.
Need some sugar? Go next door to Bob.
Middle of the night, a man is just trying to open up the window. He looks her dead in the eyes. She looks him dead in the eyes, and she goes like this: "Honey, grab the shotgun."
Like, babe, remember that shotgun that was over there? You need to. There's somebody at the window. Dude.
It's hilarious. He's a stupid killer, but he's also very intelligent. He's one of
Some of the
those.
ones that we've done have been some. I'm saying some have been
I
intelligent,
think
but not
one
a
of
whole
the
lot.
ones we are coming up to do in like maybe January, February now, in the like career girl murders. Killer went from a 120, 130 down to like a 70.
Yeah.
It dropped, and nobody understands why it dropped. And a lot of people suspect he tried to make himself stupider by faking the test out.
Could see that.
But we'll talk about that one because he's a little bit of a bitch boy. I hate him.
Next year we'll be able, like right now, her planning out as far as she's planning out.
Next time it's gonna be, I won't be writing as like, Justin called this my second job.
Much.
He was all like, I was like, I have a hobby, and he goes, no, the way you type, it's like a second job. You need to like relax. And I was like, I have to write because we have to pre-record.
A lot.
We literally have to do
like 2 months of pre-recording.
Because I think we have like, I think the official our comeback is the second week of June. Is we have as when we come back with a Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be a Q&A after all of our pre-recorded cases, so we can talk, we can show the apartments or the places we're living, and then immediately after, because it's June and Pride Month, we're doing the Pulse shooting. We're going to talk about the Pulse shooting because that was, I think, the most recent major attack, specifically targeting the LGBTQ community.
Oh, okay. And we'll try not to do repeated cases. Like maybe I actually found, what was it that I sent to you? It was Christmas folklore.
Oh, it was like all the different like
so something like that. Maybe in December we can do something like that. Like
at
the end of November.
Yeah.
End of November into the first week of January. That could be like Christmas folklore, just to get into the season of Christmas.
Like I think this year we did vampires for the episode that is like the week of Halloween. We did vampires. And I think this year we're gonna probably I'll do Dracula in particular.
I like dark things.
Or I might do like the beast, like the monster from Frankenstein's monster, and explain.
Yeah.
Like for example, the monster, his name's not Frankenstein, guys. Can we just clarify that?
Okay, what is his name?
Just the beast. Dr. Frankenstein is the one who made him.
So, but everybody called him Frankenstein, not the doctor.
The doctor's name is Frankenstein.
I get that.
But it's just Frankenstein's beast. His name is Beast.
Oh, shenanigans. All right.
He has no name.
But the beast. Okay. That's something new. I never thought about that. Oh, and sometimes on the Q&A, I like to do book reviews.
Yeah.
We could do book reviews.
We do book reviews. We do
look at music. We do a little bit of everything. Yeah. When we did the music the last time, that was fun. These are the songs that were banned in this year. It's like, really? I like that song, though. And then I hear it, it's like, oh, no, maybe not. No, we can find...
We are not listening to 1940s band music because that music will get us kicked off of the internet.
It would get us kicked off of YouTube. But yeah, no, it's pretty interesting what we come up with and what we find.
And Willow is
she is our mascot for our YouTube channel. You guys didn't get Willow butt this time because I kind of changed positions of where I'm sitting. But she likes being the center of attention when it comes to this. Actually, his name is Adam. Oh.
Is his name Adam?
I think, okay, hang on. Angie, are you talking about like Beauty and the Beast? Because Beauty and the Beast, yes, his name is Adam.
I'm talking about Frankenstein's beast.
Yeah. So, yes, she is correct on his name is Adam. If you've never read...
But if you're talking about Frankenstein's beast, I've always been taught that it was just the beast. because he didn't want to give him a name because he didn't actually think he'd be he Dr. Frankenstein had such little belief in himself. He did not believe that he could actually create the monster.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So he just was like, I'm just gonna try it. If it works, it works. It won't work, and then it worked, and he's like, man, fuck my creation. He's so stupid.
What are you saying? No, I'm heading back now. We'll take a look. Okay. I will start heading that way then. A little after 7. Cool beans. That's just John texting.
Let me hold you.
We will definitely be. We got a lot to do coming in the next 5 months.
We have a lot to do. We have a lot of pre-recording, so don't be surprised if some days we're in the same clothing. Because
Yep, it might come down to where maybe on Wednesdays we could pre-record, like Monday do a pre-record, and then Wednesday, and it could, I mean, she's off on Mondays. I'm off on Wednesdays.
Oh, I think that was because in Mary Shelley's personal letter she called him. Yeah,
Called him
she
Adam.
called him
Oh,
Adam, but in the
okay.
book, technically he has no name.
And she's not wrong there because I do have the book, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein,
I think
and the picture and the portrait of Dorian Gray. That's another one we should do.
Yeah, it was Beast or Fiend.
In
It
the
was
book,
he
it
in
was
the books.
Beast or Fiend, yep.
She and I think the reason she chose Adam because
What's
he
the
was the first of his
matter?
kind. That's why she wanted to call him Adam, was because he was the first of his kind. And I wouldn't say the only, because technically his wife counts as one, but she fell in love for Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah. So we'll definitely.
How sad is that?
Very.
You're like, I
sitting on
want
her
you
phone
to
to keep it
create a
warm?
love for my love of my life. Makes love of his life.
Okay.
Love somebody else. I'm gonna fucking
So
kill.
if you guys ever want a show to watch Penny Dreadful. That's a great show.
Penny Dreadful is a good show.
It's a very good show. Not for kids. It is not for kids. I will stress that very highly. Not for kids.
Don't do what I did. Don't watch it as a child. I watched a lot of shows I shouldn't have seen as a child. That might be why I am the way I am. We'll never know.
Yeah, no. Not until she's nuts in the river room. Still won't even know then. But no. So yeah. So please come back.
I'm about to spend 2 more and 3 more hours typing up Ed Gein's case.
Yes.
So it can be done.
So all we hear is the clickety click 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 click.
Honestly, that is all they hear. And with me going the occasional, are you fucking kidding me?
Well, she found out something. But yeah. So at Tiana, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
It is a good book.
I need to finish that book. I have like 5 books going right now that I don't know which one to
I'm not
read.
like that. I have to finish a book before I can start another book because I will get confused.
See, I
am a very confuzzable person.
Yes, she is. Very. Just saying.
Okay, that's not for you to agree with. Come on, give
I'm
me
sorry.
a
No,
bit.
She's not. She's lying.
No, she's lying, and now I feel bad.
But no, I'm still reading my villain series by Serena Valentino. So, and I'm like anticipately. We're just gonna use that as a word. Anticipately waiting. I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna roll with it. More books from the Enchanter's Tale because I have the Fairy Godmother and Tinkerbell. That's by another author of the Twisted Tale series for Disney books. So yes. So we do a lot of things. So yes, thank you.
Have a great night.
Angela. Have a good night.
No, I'm gonna type up because I'm gonna try to get all of Ed Gein's done by today and tomorrow.
Yes.
So I can start on the Tucson cases. And then once I do the Tucson cases,
yeah,
I got Jack the Ripper.
Right. But we appreciate
Jack the Ripper.
We appreciate Thomas and Angela for getting on here and being our bodyguards on the live. We appreciate you very, very much.
Yes, we do.
And like I said, at Tiana, please come back. Please come back next Monday. We can have a chat session. Now that you kind of understand what our channel's about.
Yeah.
But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it. Please like, oh my God, words.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Like, subscribe.
Okay.
Have a good night, Thomas.
Forgetful and blur it.
No room to talk. Like, share, and subscribe. and comment. Give us ideas on what you think should be.
Ooh, I know. I
Ooh,
see it.
okay.
It does look like a pretty book.
Does it? She likes pretty things that shine. That was funny. You're like, she's not kidding. Hair
Don't-
back.
Don't be judging my
Okay,
autism.
you're gonna roll off the couch, dog. But we will see everybody next Monday.
Don't sigh.
There she farts. Yeah, we will see everybody.
Is her legs being propped up by
Yes.
her toys?
Yep, she got her leg propped up by her toys. Have a good night, guys. We will see you next Monday. Love you all. Thank you for
Bye.
being on here. Have a good night. Bye.